No, on the laptop.
You recording?
Unfortunately, yes.
Give me a little beat.
Are we live? Again?
I think so.
You guys came back for another one, huh? Well, man, I don't know. This has been a long 13 weeks, but it's flown by for us, really. I mean, have you guys noticed anything? Have you even been around, Tom? I mean, you don't even know what we're doing tonight, are we? No, you're so hammered already. He's going to make it 5 minutes. That's what his wife said.
I only knew this was happening an hour ago.
That's the best type, as we pop up into you and we get it done quick. Yeah, so up above, we got the Master of Commander. We got the Dick. We got down below, we have the Eeyore. Of course, Mr. and Mrs. Tiny Hands down there. And Tom, the belligerent UK.
We're seriously cutting into his partying time, I believe.
Right,
oh,
yeah.
Oh, no, we aren't. Never mind. Here, there he goes.
Well, it's 1:30 now, his time in the morning, so he's sticking it. He's a true trooper, that guy, I tell you. So tonight, it's going to be a little bit of a round table here. We're going to go back on a few different things and show you some stuff that you may not have seen before. And, of course, Dick's going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, I've got a lot of technical stuff, and I hope that you're interested in how the bots are made and behind the scenes, because since we didn't have a show, what I did was I went back and I started scooping through all of 2021 season. So that's the season before this season. And I've got like the bots being made because Hydra was, I think the second Hydra was made for that event, right? Wasn't it?
For last season, yes.
Yeah. So we've got essentially some build stuff, technical stuff. I don't think I have any Fusion Start on Fire stuff. I do a Fusion testing. Just that kind of stuff. And there's a rumor that Jameson Go might pop in too, so he can tell us how great he is, right?
I did send the link to him. If he wants to pop in, that's going to be on him. But, I mean, the champ doesn't have to do anything anymore, right? Nobody tells him what to do.
Right.
He just wants to come on and bask in his glory for a little bit. I mean, you guys remember when he was back on us a few episodes ago, right? And nobody let slip anything, which was really, really surprising. Tiny Hands.
He managed to be so sneaky.
Do you want to do this? What, Tom?
Yeah, I said he managed to be so sneaky about it. I flat out accused him of having it next to him, and it turns out he actually did. The giant nut.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, didn't he say, I don't see any giant nut around here?
Yeah, he sure did. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so that was... they asked where the sheriff is. Anybody want to say
Oh,
I
the
don't know.
sheriff. Well, he was gonna do some island streaming, right, on his little pontoon that we made. Well, in the
Virgin
windstorm,
Island.
after he left for about 20 minutes, it tipped over, and well, almost took out everything. So his computer's sitting on top of the table, and the table flipped over, and well, it was sitting face down right next to the edge. So
You know, he
might
really
be on
should
a
have
little
talked
later.
to Gilligan first, because that's the problem with islands. They're surrounded by water.
Yeah. The stuff might be good. We're not quite sure, but it's going to storm, so he smartly is packing up. He might appear, he might not. So
I think the computer's busted, so I'm gonna say no. That's my bet.
I mean, it was screened down. You never know. It might have been busted, but he was trying to do it, live on the water, but wind took him out. Sad day for all of us.
Damn Wisconsin weather took another good one.
And now we don't get those nice, frogs in the background, so we get to hear that all the time.
Let me see what I got here. I've got let's start with some goofy stuff. Actually, it's not really goofy. What are we looking at here, Jake?
Parts that we've made for competitors, ourselves, teams, damaged batteries.
there's
Holy
some
cow!
bad
Oh,
batteries.
stop that. We gotta stop.
Back that up.
This is a good
Back.
one. This was during
One
the
more.
first year of the COVID season, and they
One
didn't.
more, Dick. The sign. You're looking
Where
for
do you
the
want?
sign.
Where do you want us to go? Oh,
the
hang on.
sign, the BattleBots sign.
Yeah.
They
There's so
had
many-
to. BattleBots decided that they needed to put up a sign. Yeah, where'd it go?
Oh my gosh.
Just wait for it. You can't tell the story. There.
There we go. So everybody got wise to this whole eating and drinking things, them keeping their mask down. So BattleBots decided they needed to put up a sign saying no eating and drinking while walking, because people were just walking around with the drinking the whole time, while the masks were mandatory. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
No
yeah,
breathing while breathing.
That's funny on us. So we took one of their signs. We have it now.
Don't you have
To
one?
remind
That's very,
us.
don't you have one that's very Soviet?
I have 3. I would just when I was by one I hadn't collected yet, I would just and run away. So yeah, I do.
She's grabbing
I
it.
gotta pull it off the wall because they're hung around our apartment.
Yeah, we haven't hung up.
So there's this one.
Mm-hmm. That was the first season that we came back to that, and yeah.
There's this one.
And then you have one that looked like the one that.
There's another one. We have a no eating while drinking or drinking while
It's really-
walking. We have
really
a
weird.
West Pit mask off work area. So I really want to hog wild with the signs.
Didn't someone get yelled at for shaving?
Yeah, someone was shaving in the bathroom alone,
Yeah.
and
It
someone
was
came in and yelled at them. It was kind of crazy.
It was Zach from Scorpios.
Yeah.
Was preparing to be on TV alone in a bathroom. I was gonna get to the story. Didn't you swear at Rachel? Didn't you swear at a COVID enforcer?
2
It
seasons
got
ago.
2 seasons ago. It got bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yep.
it was so
It was
silly.
right before a fusion fight, and they were asking like, "Well, where's Reese?" And the whole team's got to go up there like right now.
That's
Right?
not even. The lady came up and she said, "Where's Reese?" And I said, "What is this for?" Because I didn't want someone like wasting your time because we had to like fix the bot, obviously.
I'm very busy. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, "What does it matter? I need him." I'm like, "Well, like, there's a lot going on. Like, I just need to know." She's like, "He needs to get the COVID test," and we're like, "Oh, okay. Like, just him or like everyone, like all the Ewerts or all the team, whatever." Like, and like she was just being really difficult, and we're like, "Can this wait at all?" Like, we were obviously we were stressed out. Like, it's like we're running out of time here, and so like. I don't know, but she was just like, "You need to go right now," and we're like, "Okay, well, can we come with?
Can we
Can
all
we
go?
all do it so that we just
We
get it
can't
all
work
done?
on it if he's not here. If he has to go, we would like if the whole team could go. We were like, "You're gonna ask for us eventually. Can we just go now?" She was like, "Did I ask for you now?"
Oh,
it was
this was
alphabetical.
for the testing,
It was
right?
alphabetical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we were
Oh.
like, "We're so willing to go tested. We want to go get tested right now."
So we were
Please.
trying to streamline it to go as
The
per
whole
team
team
instead
go
of they would walk down to get one person at a time from a team, half a mile away, and then walk them back, and then walk down again, instead of just taking the full team. And
I got the VIP treatment, though.
knock.
They took me on golf cart, and I was done in probably 5 minutes.
They were getting us alphabetically. That was the problem, is that they had a list, and it was by last name, and they were just taking like a certain number of people. So they were at the ease. And we were like, hey, we'd love to go, because later when we're like needed, we don't want to be like pulled away. If he's not going to work, we don't want to work right now. Like, can we all just go?
And she's like, why are you being like difficult or rude or whatever?
Yeah. And I did swear, because it was becoming increasingly frustrated.
She was like, why are you being like this? And she just goes, because you're kind of fucking us right now.
I did say that. And she was like, you don't get to talk to me that way. And then for some reason that got passed to like the head person of COVID, as that we didn't want to go be tested. And then he came over and was like, let's go. Like, it'll be fine. And I was like, no, I want to go. You were misinterpreting the situation.
We all want to go.
I already wanted to go.
I
just wanted to go now.
But if we're going to go, if we have to, we should all go.
But
yeah,
we did look, and that was not against the rules, so it was fine.
What did our answer finally become? That he's just in the bathroom? Like, every time somebody came over and asked, he's in the bathroom?
Well, he was often elsewhere. He was often elsewhere.
It was usually smoke break, which is kind of next to the bathroom.
We would just start saying we don't know.
He was right there at the time.
Yeah.
He was just working. So we're like, why? Get away.
Better yet, why didn't they just go around to all the teams?
Right.
They could have had just a little tiny cart for all the testing and just go to the team and do it. Instead, everybody had to go to them.
Here's the problem with not thinking things through. Our team was going to experience this problem. When you take people from your team away, you become less effective, right? So why not? If you took the whole team at once, there'd be no problem, right? Because everybody's got to do it. You do it all at once. So it's the amount of lost time multiplied by how many teams were there is really the issue. It's just anyway. So we could go on about this forever.
They just said the tent is up at some point during the day when you have time, go do it. And that was more effective. And that was when it was like there were more restrictions, and they had us just like go when we wanted whenever we were outside. They weren't like calling us over.
All right, I'm gonna have to tell the story really quick. I must have told it on stream because these people wouldn't know it already. But when they required vaccinations for BattleBots, I got I got 2 of them. I got both of the most popular ones, and then I got 3 boosters. And when I show people the card, they think that it's counterfeit and a joke, because at the time, I mean, now I'm sure there's people with 5 shots, but at BattleBots, I had this card, and people thought that it was counterfeit because of the number of shots on it. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be able to say, listen, I'm so serious about this. How many shots you got?
So you could over Karen the Karen.
Yeah, I could over Karen the Karen. So.
Didn't you say you printed it on your shirt at one point?
Oh yeah, I got a shirt with the card completely on it because, GDPR in the UK and all that crap. Well, we're required to just give this information away. Like, to go there, you have to say, fine, I can give it to this person who isn't a nurse and this person who's working the door, right? All these people got to see our medical information. So I was just like, fine, F it. I'm just going to print it on a shirt.
Malicious compliance.
Okay. One second. I got to take Tiger because he gets super annoying. Yes. I'll let it in there. Hydra. We don't know yet. Sorry. What we do probably know is that they're not going to have a filming session in the next, well, let's say this year, probably. It'll probably be in January sometime. So that's what we know so far. So if you know anything different, feel free to tell us. Of course, the builders are the last ones to ever know anything. So
that's the rumor.
Safety team is.
Oh, yeah, okay. Safety team does get to know a week after we know. Okay, I give it to them. Okay.
This is Pat. This is Battery Pat. He probably doesn't want to use his name, so he's Captain Battery.
Pattery.
He makes sure that people's batteries are not garbage. So if they're dented or broken, he's got a little special seal that he'll put on them. And then he's there to help the teams kind of refocus their safety concerns, because a lot of times when people after a fight just get the shit kicked out of them, they're not overly concerned with safety anymore. They're more concerned with like getting their bot fixed, right? Yeah. And so Pat's got to be like, hey, can we get the batteries out? Can we do this safely? Yeah, we're just gonna leave Terry Haggett, Jake? You're just gonna leave Haggett?
Hold on. No, I was waiting for your segue here, because one, Tiger, you can be annoying. That's fine. I'm not too worried about it. I just wanted to nip that one in the butt.
Don't ever ask again.
Yeah. Two, we have a kind of special guest, the man from the island who didn't get off of Gilligan's Island. Tell us, how did that go tonight?
Yeah. You watch all those damn Gilligan's Island episodes, right? And it's like, why can't they get off the freaking island, man? But I can sympathize with them. I can sympathize. There's always problems. Oh, no, and you have pictures of it, too. There's how it was set up. Really nice, nice day out. And then I leave, go home, get a bite to eat, come back 20 minutes later, and a windstorm came through and blew everything over.
Terry's spared.
Into the water?
Just like that.
That's a good one.
Hey, nice one, Trevor.
Well, my cowboy hat went in the freaking water.
I was in the process of getting the video of the tip over, but it was not very action-packed. It just kind of like flopped, and then it sat there. So, anyways,
lose Wilson as
we
well.
have to thank Overchuck for not listening to us one bit of one of these streams and still sending us money, even though we keep asking you not to send super chats. But thank you anyway, because it keeps us kind of online until we show guns or something, and then we get shut off again. But hey, not this week, hopefully. Not this week. We're going to try to make it 2 hours this time.
We're going to try to not get banned on YouTube this time. So,
yeah. But if it does go down, we have a link in the description to Rumble, okay? I don't know if you need a Rumble account to watch anything, but if it goes down on YouTube, we're going to switch. We're already streaming live over to there at the same time as we're doing here. So you just go right on over, and we'll just keep on the party.
Right there. Rumble.com, Whyachi live.
Yeah. Yes. Already set up a Rumble account. Excellent, Core. That's the way of thinking about it. Yes.
And we might do the after show on that. See how we feel at the end.
Oh, hey, Dick, do you want to go over your appeal? Oh, that's the wrong one.
Which appeal?
No, this one, the YouTube one.
Yeah,
you want to go over that?
Yeah, I mean, I appealed it, but it was legitimate. I mean, you can only push them so far.
They were squirt guns.
I think holding the revolver straight into the camera and pulling the trigger 5 times is probably not. He wasn't betrayed.
I was thinking about it. I actually loaded
Pull the old
the purple or the blue gun. I did load it on camera. So maybe it was that.
You fucked it up.
Whatever.
There was a couple of things that it could have been. Of course, YouTube is not very specific on which action actually caused it, so we can't do it again, which is kind of annoying.
I thought they were blaming Bryce for it because we got a great screenshot of him just holding a gun gleefully in the air.
That's true. That's true. I should tell everybody when their takedown notice just has a picture of Bryce holding a gun.
It's a great photo.
So I'm like, I'll blame Bryce then.
Yeah, I was going to do Griffey's squirt gun tonight too, and now I can't do that.
Once we go to Rumble, you can.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to Rumble. Anyway, so these are more of this rapid shot. That's you and Trevor. But did Terry come out there?
Yeah.
All weirdly too. He's out in the middle of their photo shoot. Like, what in the hell are you doing out there?
I had to have a little talk with them.
I mean, even the father of the bride isn't even out there, but you're out there.
Oh, is this your mother, Jake? Jake and Reese? Is this?
Yeah.
Terry, is this your wife over here?
Probably.
Wondering where you went?
Yeah.
Maybe it's Tavi. I don't know.
It was raining.
Yeah, I knew you'd find that one funny.
Trying to figure out how to feel the dress.
Hey, Dick, did anybody invite you to the golf outing the other day?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I was invited.
Okay. We don't have any pictures or video of that one, do we?
No.
I know. I just have Snapchats that I sent of the kid trying to hit a golf ball.
What were the scores?
I hit like 5s or 6s, so it wasn't too horrible. My greens are really bad. Driving though, driving's excellent.
So you took? Are you? Is he just helping you hold that? I know what the next picture is, by the way.
No, that's not necessarily
The sheriff.
Is that what you expected on your wedding night?
No, not particularly, but it also was pretty funny. So
it was the least exciting you had that whole night, right?
Hey, quit with that.
Not the least.
Griffey's got the Kia keys.
Okay, these are
okay. We're getting some real bot stuff now here.
okay. This is actually interesting. This is off of Jake's telephone. I've got a dump after the event. So these are in the order they're on his phone.
you went through them correctly, right? Before you
get
us taken down.
There could be anything in here. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, I've gone through them all.
It's not good. Not good.
So this is how you make the tires, right?
Yeah, that's how we make the tires. Yeah, we actually cut real rubber into our tire shape, and we have the center spline, and then we water jet out the aluminum center spline in the same shape, and then that's what actually gets 680 Loctited onto the gear.
Do you buy the rubber in sheets like that, or do you guys pour it?
Yeah, inch and a half thick rubber, and then we just jet it into that particular shape. So we can change diameters if we really wanted to, but we don't. So these tires, they get used on originally sow. We actually made the tires to squish down a certain amount, so when sow did its hop that it likes to do after getting hit, that it would take out all the squish out of the bot. And then we just made all the rest of the bots with these same tires now.
Okay.
I'm all too familiar with these tires.
And they're an even 3 5/8 diameter.
Why don't you tell us about the tires, Trevor, from your perspective?
They are easy to set up in theory, but every year I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this, and then there's always something that I'm not quite getting right, because they're not like flawless, right? So sometimes like they like stretch a little weird, or you push on them too hard, and you gotta make sure that when you're pressing in the I don't know what you call it, the sprocket in the middle.
Yep.
Like you don't want to like tear the rubber, so you have to use a lot of force, but also you have to be gentle with it.
We used to lube them, like put some Dawn dish soap on them, but then it made a mess, and so we just started forcing it through.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a sort of delicate process, and I always struggle with the snap rings. I just can't do it for some reason.
More divisions filmed for TV? No, probably not. In fact, we're probably going to see less and less divisions. You don't want too many people making too many different size bots, because it gets diluted. Now, for TV purposes, a 12-pounder or a 30-pounder doesn't really look all that different from a 250-pounder. So from our perspective, it'd be cheaper to make smaller bots. But from a live show perspective, that they want the live people in there, your arena gets a lot smaller, so you can't fit as many people around there and different stuff like that. But I mean, looking at the numbers that we're given for viewership, the season was pretty much steadily declining until the very last episode, where we did a jump during the finals. But everything else was trending down. Now, that's, of course, the numbers that we can see, which is the TV viewership numbers. We can't see the Discovery Plus or the private, things. And, of course, they're not going to tell us those numbers either, so that they have a little bit of power in their negotiations with BattleBots themselves. So
yeah, there's an unknown amount that switched over to streaming over the last few years.
I bet it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
And how
I wouldn't be surprised if more people stream it than
if they film the Golden Bolt and Giant Nut at the same time, how do they know who the tournament, so they have a spot as a gatekeeper? The prior tournaments, the 8-team tournaments to get to the Golden Bolt happened during the Giant Nut. Those tournaments happen at the exact same time. Now, the Golden Bolt itself is a 1-day tournament after the Giant Nut has been awarded the night before. So then the 8 bots go in to the final day of filming. Most people are packing up at this time, unless you're in the Golden Bolt or doing just fill-in fights. And then from there, you have your 3 fights to get to the Giant Nut, or the Giant Bolt in this case. So,
well, how many were already placed into the Golden Bolt?
I think there was 3 champions that were automatically in, and they needed 5 more. Yeah. So they had 4 or 5 consecutive tournaments happening at the same time as the Giant Nut tournament. That way, they have enough fights to fill all their filming sessions. Is really what it is about. Otherwise, they would have had just what's the word? The other fights that they usually had. Fill-in fights.
So the past winners, of course, Ray wasn't there, Paul wasn't there. So then you end up with Endgame, Tantrum, and Sawblaze are 3 of the 8 automatically in the Golden Bolt. So you need 5 more from these other feeder tournaments, mini tournaments.
Terry, this is probably for you. Did you coin this phrase?
Cage, yep. 3-arm cage spinner. Technically not a full body spinner, but it kind of falls under those same rules as far as BattleBots are concerned.
Yeah, Vegas is right. Three of the tournaments did start at the very start of the tournament because they were either not in the tournament already, or they lost the round of 32, and then the final 2 started as the top 32 people started to drop out in top 8, and then when you get to top 16, you usually don't have a chance to get in the tournaments because they're already started by the time you get to those final days.
So this is the business end, the packing end of, I don't know, what do you guys call it? The big crate?
This one? This is the dick crate.
This is the dick hole.
The dick hole, yes.
Dick hole.
Your hidey hole.
Well, it's not my office in this picture, but
well, not in this picture. Once we unload it, we make it into Dick's office. He puts all his computer equipment in here and everything in there, so we can keep our own little. It used to be in the tent, but we don't bring the tent anymore. So.
And now this is these are just the bots in the.
The bots in their respective crates. We usually have a Hydra, 2 Hydras in one set of crates, and 2 Hydras in the other set of crates.
And there's another copy of this, right?
Yep, another copy of this. So we send 3 crates out now for the 2 bots.
Where's the other one?
And they're what weight?
1,700 pounds a piece usually. It's a lot of stuff. Oh, this is when Deadlift sent a deadly crate to us. Not to us personally, but they send 1 truck around to like the local teams, and then it goes directly to BattleBots. Well, Deadlift's crate was in there, and they need to get it out to get our crates in. Problem is, they didn't have skids underneath this thing in the proper spots. So it took them a long time to get, like, the forklift jack underneath there, and then get it off the truck. And apparently, they themselves had one heck of a time getting it on the truck, where it almost fell off of the lift gate. So that was a fun story to tell them. So we decided to help them fix it. So we just brought it into the shop and added some more skids to it so we could put it back in a lot easier.
And I put my dick on it.
Hey, that's
actually, no. We put our sofa, our futon on top of it, and we bolted it down to it. So they carried our futon the whole way there.
Some people like laying on that futon in the pits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, Mr. Battery?
Yep. You bet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, lately it's been the hammock, right? Were you in the hammock or?
No, I never saw Pat in the hammock.
No,
I didn't get to the hammock. It was always used when I needed it.
Oh, the Reese Airport. Okay, we got a question for this. From its first fight, Creepy Crawlies in Ultraviolet, to its final fight against Gigabyte, did Sao change at all from the design stance? Pa? I don't think there was much of a change.
No, I answered it in the chat. The only thing different might have been the batteries. We might have switched to max amp somewhere in there.
Yeah, there was really nothing changed.
Okay, so yeah, we took off a few pictures of Reese going through airport security because every time he goes through security, he always gets randomly selected for the extra pat downs.
Yeah,
it is always fun.
At this point, I opt for it. Finger in the butt. It's worth something.
Appreciate the attention.
Like how many knives do you try to get through TSA on a?
I did lose my Leatherman, my good Leatherman once, and those sons of bitches. It's like, oh, can I mail it to myself?
Take them away.
No, it's going in her trash. You should know better. Fuck you.
Well, I went through with the knife one time, and it was on the belt, so I forgot about it. And then when I went through, I handed it to him, like, okay, they threw it in a bucket, whatever. And then we had so much time before the plane, and it was the knife that I bought the day my son Griffin was born. So it's been my knife. I've carried it every day since he's been born. So I had to go back and get it. So I went back there, and I had to go back to the baggage cart and take my ticket and have them redirect my baggage from the tram that's already going out there back into the place, put my knife in there, and then send it back down through all that stuff. So I had to go through baggage check twice that night.
They took my soldering iron once.
Soldering, well, it's pokey.
Because Dick, it's the Heiko. It looks like a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And they said because it resembled a pistol, they frickin' took it away and bomb sniffed my bag.
You're gonna cut my hands off if I walk through like this.
Well, I mean, somebody said I'm a flight risk. I've gotten on an airplane with some pretty not good things before.
That's not something to be proud of.
One of them was a flashlight this long, which happened to be a taser. And then I had some Chinese throwing stars that were like made out of a high density plastic that were really sharp. Not that throwing stars are the greatest. I'm not Jackie Chan.
Dude, it was hot. It's hot, right? And this go back a picture. I'll explain why this video was funny, because that was the day that the AC power got cut and all the power to the pits. Well, a third of the power of the pits. So it got up to what temperature in the pits as we were rolling through?
Saw 94 there.
Yeah, inside the tent for the pits. So it's pretty warm.
Was that a sex advertisement over top of BattleBots?
Yeah,
that was.
You noticed that one too? Yeah. There's been a lot of questionable things that take up those signs when you go for BattleBots.
Billboards.
Well, you know what? It is Vegas. We should make it that way.
Oh, nice! You even got BattleBots 21 Jake camera there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Witch Doctor in the dick hole.
I'm showing them their fight.
Right. Yes, please.
So they've seen the inside of the dick hole.
Stop.
They've seen the dick hole.
Stop.
Isn't there literally a hole in the backside of the dick hole?
There is.
There is.
A dick hole in the dick hole.
It's a slot for cables. Don't be sticking that in there.
Oh yeah, it's for
Andrea, you've been to both? She's claiming it's not as good as the Lions Den.
Oh, we're talking about the sign, or
yeah, apparently.
Different sign went up.
A different sign the next day. Yes.
So that's the fence that the homeless people lay by.
I felt like they were targeting me with this one.
If you walk to BattleBots, you go past 4 or 5 there every day?
This is where the homeless people offered me money as well.
Oh, birthday boy.
This has audio.
Hey, dear old man. Day to you.
Where is everyone?
It's got to be early morning.
Yeah.
I think I was working at that time.
Oh, we actually, I took a picture of this for the wife this year, that year, and then we finally got to go to that place this last time we went to Remars. So that was, I did not like it. Apparently, I don't like fancy food because it tasted really bad. Yeah.
Really?
What did you get?
I would much rather have Taco Bell than. Hey, honey. Yeah. What did we have at that Hell's Kitchen place?
Yeah, and yet he has sushi, which is a fancy
what?
food.
We
had the
Thursday.
lobster risotto.
Hey, can we
The
make a little
fancy
gas
mac and
fire
cheese.
pit by the patio like that?
And the beef Wellington. And I absolutely hated the beef Wellington.
I love beef Wellington.
So
You're
bad.
great.
How can you hate beef Wellington?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
nuts.
Like $300 worth of food that I just absolutely hated. It was a very nice gesture,
Simpletons.
but I hated the
Simpletons.
food.
So there's the Cobalt Kid. Anybody else? Can you pick anybody else out in this picture?
There's Mladnik.
Mladnik in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Nave.
The guy in the middle on the back left is one of the guys from Black Dragon.
I think like
That
3
guy
of them
was.
released for Black
This
Dragon.
is. There's Derek Tran
Yep.
in the white shirt. And I think that guy behind him was from that other Texas team that came here, like King. Not was it Dragon King? No.
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 Okay, where's that question? Okay, hold on. I got one. Somebody's saying, Shadow Twig is saying, this stream is all over the place. Yes.
Yeah.
It's our last one, so we're trying to get everything out.
It might be the last one. Who knows?
They haven't watched the other 12
But
streams.
what we're going over with right now is our last season, not this season, but the last season before that, of all the pictures that I took on my phone at the event. And then we're
In
trying
the order he took them. That's why it's all over the place.
So you get to see the day by day of what we did that whole season.
I do need to ask you guys, if I do
He
end
speaks. What? Tom's still
I do-
alive down there. Okay.
I do speak when you don't kick me out the stream. I gotta know if I do end up coming to help and accepting your invite, which you very, very kindly offered to me. What should I know in advance, and what would be the best advice you could give me, so I can
Absolutely
give you the
none.
best help possible?
Wear
Nothing.
rubber.
you
Learn
probably
how to
should.
take orders without questioning, because Weasel
I can
has
do
some
that.
really, really questionable things to tell you.
Well, a lot of it you've already been doing. Staying up
Don't
super late,
rile up
really drunk.
the bot drivers before the match.
Yeah.
You can come hang out with me, Tom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and get your talents for Monster, because you're going to need a lot of it.
Oh, I can do that. Oh, no, just
Yeah.
what do I need to know in advance? What
Well,
advice can you give?
maybe ship over some good booze. I mean,
Don't skip on the hookers and blow. That's a must.
I mean, being an extra person who knows nothing like mechanical or tools or electrical or anything like that, you're kind of at a disadvantage per se, but there's always going to be something we can find for you to do. Right, Trevor?
Yes.
Yeah. You pull laundry duty as the new guy too.
Probably, yeah.
No.
I
We're
come
not
with
doing
a-
we're not doing that anymore because I'm not mixing clothes anymore with you.
I come with a willingness to learn. I'm willing to learn anything that I need to know. So.
Did you guys do the laundry at the hotel?
No.
I wish I would have
we
found the
used
laundry at
to.
the hotel.
No, it's horrible at the hotel. There's like 3 washing machines. That's it.
That's after Pedro saw my shirt.
Bunny told us about this service that will do it for you, and it wasn't overly expensive. It's priced about right for somebody digging through your dirty panties. So,
But what I wanted was separated clothes. They threw all of the team's clothes
Yeah.
together, and we
Yeah.
had to separate them after the fact. And like we sent them separated. I wanted my stuff separated, and then we all have like team shirts that are kind of like our team shirts, and they all got mixed up, and nobody knew what sizes they were wearing, and everything felt uncomfortable after that. So.
You should
That's
wear
why I cut the sleeves
all leopard
off.
skin clothes.
every one of mine has the sleeves off.
Where's that one? Just that other.
Oh, this was the nightmare run trying to find liquor in Vegas.
Neither was I.
I
Tom,
told
don't
them in
worry.
advance I'm no use to them.
Oh yeah, the liquor some nights is very tough to get at. What do we end up going to? 4 different spots?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And the lights are on. Like you
During
think
COVID.
they're open, but they have the doors literally
Yeah.
chained closed.
Yeah. But the place right across from the hotel was nice.
Crash.
There's that futon.
They had strippers too. It was
Okay.
right next.
Okay. Who are these people?
You got Jesus up in the top left.
Nave.
Yep.
That is.
That's an endgame guy.
Yep.
Endgame
Endgame guy.
That's
Yeah.
all you know him by.
Lockjaw. Ah, shit. I know his name. We had a big conversation about knives. He's a knife guy. Not a big fan of guns, but he likes knives.
There's a Ribot kid in the back with a big giant. No.
They're thumb wrestling?
Oh, it's one of them.
That must have
That
been
was
a
definitely
party.
cheating there. Yeah.
So
Was that
that's
the party?
that's the kind of shenanigans. No, that was at the by the pool.
Right.
Yep.
At like 11 or 12 at night, right?
Yeah. Here's
You
Jake.
remember the party 2 years ago? They had shrimp and crab, all you can eat buffet. Man,
This is what happens when you're not at your bot.
Yeah,
that
this
makes a guy happy.
This is what I call stalking. Like if they're all gone, you just go and you take a picture, like a selfie with their bot.
And then he gets sent to
Pretty
him
great.
later.
Yeah, you send it to them later. Yeah. Or sometimes you hold up a clock so that you can see what time it is, like we did with Huge when they said that they were constantly working on their bot. We would just go there with nobody by it, just hold our phone up and take selfies with the,
That picture there is pretty impressive. They got like almost two glitches together.
But they were never together. That's the thing. They were always like this all the time.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
Yes, that was before the Tantrum original fight. In
Is
fact,
this
that was
the-
before I even knew that we had to fight them.
I think this is the battery tent too. Like they were like apart in the battery tent. all the time.
They were right behind us. This is I'm sitting in the chair taking the picture. Like that's how close they were. They're just fully strewed everywhere around the bot.
This is before the first Tantrum fight. Everybody's out using this flat steel to get their forks set up right.
I was there first.
Taco Bell.
I don't think this is my edit. I didn't do that.
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
So this is that's at the by the pool side. That's one of our Taco Bell runs. Vegas.
Yep, you gotta always have the Vegas shots in there. Mm-hmm. You really didn't go through these, right?
Oh, I definitely went through them. I deleted a lot of pictures.
There's
Okay,
a picture
good,
of
good,
birthday boy almost smiling.
Yep. Yeah, almost smiling.
Where is this?
Oh, there's Trevor. Where was that, Trevor?
Where? I was typing.
That picture.
Was this at Hooters?
Harry knows. No, this was at
That was Hooters.
This is 100%. This is who.
Yeah.
You can
Dick,
tell by
are
the
you
paper
not with
towel
us?
holder.
That was
No.
that
No,
was
this was
my
like-
birthday.
Late. This was late, and Dick was just like, "No, I need like a good 16-hour sleep or whatever."
Is
Yeah.
that Luke? Yes, Luke is on the left, and then Reese, and then Old Man Sheriff, and then Ma, and then Trevor, and then Tiny Hands.
Oh, I thought this was when we were at the burger joint at Trey's dad's hotel.
No.
No, Johnny Rockets? No.
Yeah.
No, I think that was like
This is definitely
week.
that was definitely where.
That was
This is
just
where
Ooh, the
Reese gave me
fountains.
so much anxiety because we're sitting there and he's like, "Let's go watch the fountains." Me, Trevor, and Rachel are getting out of the car on the side of the road, and I was like, "I didn't agree to
Yeah,
that.
never
I
agreed to
didn't
that.
agree to just get out of the car in traffic. We were just like moving."
I've never been to a Hooters before. That'll be a fun experience for you guys.
What's this?
it's overrated.
People staring at me taking a selfie.
Just amazing. I just thought it was funny because there's a person like looking straight down the barrel of the camera.
I think she's looking at the other guy, the screen in back of your seat.
She took
I don't think so.
Camera. I don't know why these are at this location on your camera, but
this is just all stuff that I dumped into the directory.
Oh, this is before an event. All of our tables at the shop just filled with whatever in different stages of assembly and wiring.
Yeah, everybody's desk had some part of Hydra or Fusion on it. And then
Look at the
we
shirts.
went ahead and tried to make our own tie-dye shirts. Well, we did, but it took some time, and the first batch didn't go so well.
And somebody got fired over it, too.
That's also, yeah, I mean, you did do that, I guess.
oh, there is a Fusion burnt. Oh, no.
Oh, that's at the shop. Yeah.
Not all the way here. There's a burnt Fusion. I thought there was no burnt Fusions.
There's always a burnt Fusion. Don't you know that?
So everyone,
that's when I had the white rotor painted white.
It just has to be on the fire when you put it in there, so that no one will ever know when it starts.
That was the least technical of the ones. I wanted to open with that because it was early in the stream. But there's the I've got some good stuff that's making of Hydra. Essentially.
That is actually the first time that we had a fire extinguisher for Fusion, that we actually used it. Otherwise, we just let it burn.
What are you guys doing here?
That time we wanted to stop it.
Hey, did you guys get any word from JMO if he's popping in tonight?
I sent him the message. He said, "Okay, thanks." So who knows if he'll show up and show us his, giant nut or not.
So what are you doing,
JMO?
What are you doing here?
Where's here? We can't see here.
Oh shit! I'm asking you.
I can see here, but you can't see here.
I'm asking you to comment on a video you guys can't see.
Right. Oh, so this was our original Hydra test, testing out the new brushless motors and gearbox setup and seeing how many amps actually took to run the thing. So right now he's just manually putting either zero pressure or full pressure back pressure on the pump, and we're just deadheading it against this 3000 psi thing to see if the motor can actually go over top of its safety factors.
You're watching the amps right on the meter.
Yep. Watching the amps in the meter, so it goes from full flow, so it's just flowing out everything, to going past the relief valve at 3000 psi.
Right.
And this is with the APD controllers, which work just fine for most of Hydra's applications.
Those were the cause of most of Fusion's fires.
Yeah, they started
and Hydra's
the whole fire trend.
All right, this is pretty interesting to me, anyway. These are the hydraulic blocks in a early state of being manufactured, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then
there's Hydra. Look at that.
In the midst, it shows that you guys were thinking about the Hydra for a pretty long time, because here it is in the middle of the
building the new Fusion,
building the
new hydraulic block.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we have never had a line blowout. There is only technically 2 lines on Hydra. The one running on either side of the cylinder, and that's it. Everything else is inside that aluminum manifold that we're looking at right now. But we had to buy special porting tools, because the valves that you stick in there, they use a special thread, and you got to buy the tool and then a reamer for that, and then tap them out. And so it was a lot of excess tool cost to make just a hydraulic manifold, but it made it a lot lighter than it would have been otherwise.
And for the big valve was super expensive, so we sent those out to get done by a place in Michigan.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we sent it out for anodizing, just so we got some nice color. This was the first time we did beautification.
From Michigan? Are they a Michigander?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Michigan.
Captain Battery should know. And Michigan's his favorite college team.
Yeah, they call them Michiganders.
So is that what it started like, and that's what it ended up like?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is all because of one valve, I guess was pretty much backwards in our.
How many
in our
attempts
original
did it
setup.
take you guys to make that?
Well,
We didn't
to
have
make-
to remake any. We made
No,
3,
no.
so we end up with 3 good ones. The problem
Right,
is
we had to
the first season of Hydra had the incorrect unloader valve in it. We were lucky to get the damn thing working at all. So hence Dick had to run the pump on that season.
Right,
So
there
then
was no unloader valve for the system. It
Pump
just
on.
was pump on or pump
So
off.
then we had to switch things around, and we ended up having to make new blocks for the second season on.
So this looks really scary to me.
Yeah.
What do you
Hand tools.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You're just sanding off the burrs between your hole drills there. That way you don't have any sharp corners in there that can break off and get into your valves. Oh yeah, nice and smooth.
You're smoothing the sharp intersections.
Yep. And there's a lot in there. There's a lot of cross holes. And pretty much every drill hole that's on there is to make an intersection, and then they all get blocked off anyway, so that all the intersections are just inside.
Didn't we have a bore cam too? We run through there and
Yep.
As
Yeah.
the
Check it
deburring?
and drill it. Yes, we did. Oh, here's the original Hydra stream setup for doing camera work back in the day. And this is watching the oil get really, really hot and start to smoke on a gearbox test. We'll see for
Oh,
leaking.
it's a temperature thing.
Yep, temperature thing. And this is the accumulator. Not the accumulator, but it's the
Reservoir.
smaller accumulator, the reservoir for the... It's still an accumulator because you still put pressure on the backside, but it's only like 30 PSI on the backside. And that's what holds most of the fluid in there until you actually start pumping up into the main system. No 5-axis milled. No, 2.5 axis actually. So
we don't even have
not
3.
even 3. Nope, no 3.
Do you just use hand drills?
Grinders mostly.
Yeah.
Beavers. Occasionally a beaver
Chainsaws.
will come in there, gnaw it out.
How hot is
There's the
Jake?
here's the blocks. I don't know what these pink things are.
Pink things are to hold the pump on.
The pump intake manifold.
And that's all the fluid that's in there from the grinding dust from the actual pump spinning on the gears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold it back. Okay, so all those hoses there, that was to make the original Hydra kind of still work. So we did use it like this for a season.
The picture before this one.
Oh,
yeah.
And also,
Well, it's still this one too.
Is that why Dick
Hydra-
had to use the phone and watch the pressures or
Well,
whatever?
we had to block off a port for the unloader valve, and then we had to make a special block. Not that one.
Keep her
Next one.
going. There.
Right there. Right up in front there, there's another extra aluminum block with the pressure sensor and the pressure valve in there. So we had to take hoses off of the main block, port it over to the new block so that when the block got up to pressure, this would then open up and let the pump free spin back, which is why we made the new block in the next season anyway, because we need to get rid of all of this cluster. And of course we went to brushless too, so it required a fix.
and Hydra was so delayed the first year that Tiny Hands and Dick had to drive it out there 4 days before the event.
I guess they just don't. You can get done most of the 5-axis, just multiple setups. Is that why you don't have the
Pretty
5-axis?
much. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, it's just extra equipment costs that we don't ever use. But
They do-
we do.
Kyle, they do now.
There was one before-ish, kind of, but it wasn't a very fine filter. Now there's a fine filter in there. But I don't change the fluid very regularly. I want to keep it in there because every time I break the connection, I feel like that I'm going to be contaminating the fluid all the time. So
yeah, break the seal. All these yellow wires. These are the valve switching that are going up to these smart switches. All these red plugs. Those go into the Hydra control, the sequencer.
I saw those yellows, so they were pretty untrustworthy.
Yeah, I had to go back in and fix them for you, Reese.
That explains it.
What is that in the bag?
I don't know.
Oh, the pack was just extra fluid. I didn't have a container to put it in, so I put it in a plastic bag.
So there's the bore scope.
So while I'm putting in the units, I want to check to make sure the seals pass all those, intersections that we were talking about. That's why we smooth them off a little bit. That way the seals don't rip when you go to spin your thing in there. And of course, we put the bore scope
very tight
in the end.
Very tight.
That way you make
Have
sure
you had
that
it where
they
you
don't
were
cut.
putting those in and they did catch on something?
You rip a O-ring once in a while. Yeah.
I've seen it.
A couple
I've seen it.
times. Now, we didn't do this on the first block, though. That's the thing. We only did it on the new block. So there's possible that when we did the first original Hydra that we didn't do a good enough job, but now we knew the things you learn between the first, and second versions of things is that's the difference. We actually took a lot more care in watching it go in.
And nobody asked, what does the block weigh?
I don't actually know what it weighs.
It's
Probably
probably
pounds.
15, 18 pounds, somewhere in there. Starts off at about 36 pounds.
And these little stalks that he's putting on, there's essentially a valve inside these stalks. You can think of it. And then there's a coil that goes around it that isn't on right now. And that coil pulls the valve open.
These are all standard hydraulic valves from Sun Hydraulics. They're almost all of them are Poppet valves, kind of like the Poppet valve, intake exhaust on your gas engines. So they act about as quick as you can get for hydraulic valves.
But
Which
there was
we didn't
there was
know
a problem
wasn't
with,
actually quick in our terms. Go ahead, Weasel. What do you got?
there was a problem with not having a filter on, and it broke the seal on a couple of those valves, correct? A couple of chips got in there, and they
well, it damaged the mating surface in the seals.
Yeah.
So they stuck.
They were stuck
or they
open
had
a little
debris in
bit.
them, so they didn't actually close all the way. But yeah, the timing on the valves was was another big thing. Why Dick had to make the Hydra controller to begin with, because all those valves, they take between 30 and 100 milliseconds to actually like open or close. So in that time, a Hydra flip is only 100 milliseconds. Like it's up in that time. So if you have all your valves open at the exact same time, you're just dumping fluid right through all the valves right back to your reservoir,
Right.
and it doesn't do any good. That's why you have like zero power.
It's 100,000th of a second.
You're basically controlling a hydraulic cylinder, right? So you have the blind end and the rod end. So you're putting either pressure in one end or it's open to drain. And we're accomplishing that with two-way valves, basically like a water valve or a ball valve. You could have two of those, one hooked to pressure, one hooked to tank on the blind end, and then another pair hooked up to the rod end. And using those four valves, you can control, extend, and retract on that one hydraulic cylinder.
I mean, they can 3D print titanium. I think you guys have worked on some 3D printed titanium, but you'd still have to do all the seals and.
Mm-hmm.
There's still finish machining after the fact,
you,
but your
you could do
master
better,
block
but
could be
how
done.
much are you going to save? I mean, if you're doing titanium, yeah, probably maybe half the weight ish.
So this tube here it's pretty complicated. What is this tube? This is the reservoir, right?
Correct.
Correct.
That's where all the fluid
This is
sits
the reservoir
before it goes into the pump.
and or the tank, you could call it. But we actually pressurize the backside of this piston with 20 to 30 psi air, just standard air compressor air.
It's a
That way, it's the whole
pressure
hydraulic
piston.
system is closed, and unless it leaks. But you know, if the bot flips over, you don't want to have a tank with just a breather on it that, you know, open the atmosphere and it's going to drain out.
Mostly when you're upside down, you have an open hole in the top. Then
So instead of having
system,
it like a construction machine where it would be in a tank and gravity would be on top of it, you just put a plate essentially on top of it and push the plate down.
It's kind of like an air cylinder, the piston in it,
bladder,
and the oil's on the front end of the piston.
Can Reese use those in his cat milking system?
Yeah, cat milking system. That's exactly what it is. Yeah,
it's modified from my cat milking system.
What are you doing in this
for Hydra?
Terry?
Oh, this is the Udder Gun assembly area right here.
Oh, okay. What are you doing?
I had to put stickers on my table because they kept taking my table. So I put stickers on there so they'd stay off my table, and they did not.
No. In fact, we're right on top of the sticker.
Yeah. Literally.
It's just a slap in the face to Team Udder Gun.
This isn't a very interesting answer. It's just they're just Arduino. Arduino. I don't even know how to say it really. I didn't know how to program them. I didn't know how to program them when this started, but I mean, program's a program. So, I mean, it's a pretty complicated. It's not a complicated problem, but it's a complicated. It becomes complicated when you need to be able to change the tuning. So, like, the team didn't know how long each valve actually had to be open or closed. That was tuned due to some math and some practical, and then just trial and error. That you just like fiddle with the settings until.
No, we had to actually send in a request to Sun to have them tell us, like on a graph, like, hey, this is when flow starts, this is when flow actually gets done moving. So they kind of told us the timing for certain valves, and then we just assumed it for other ones of the same size.
Is Sun the manufacturer of the valves?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why, like the smaller valves, they act quicker. They're between 30 and 50 milliseconds that they'll actually open up. And then the big valve, that one takes 100 milliseconds to open, but it takes 150 milliseconds to close. So you actually, as soon as you open it, you start to close it almost instantly, just because it takes that long to action back the other way.
And again, on each end of the cylinder, we have two of these valves, one open the tank, one open the pressure. So you got to get one closed before you open up the other one. You're going to have crossover and loss of pressure from your accumulator right back to tank, and it's not doing you any good, you know.
So here's the difference. Here's the difference between the first season Hydra and its second run, right?
Yes.
Is this big huge motor right here was replaced by a motor that's inside of here.
The heat sink.
What's twice the power? Okay, Tom, what do you got?
Yeah.
I was about to say, somebody mentioned that the first version of Hydra was unable to self-right. Is that true?
No. When we came home from that season, we did do a test to see if it would self-right. We didn't know when we went that it would self-right. So we after we got that quest, then we found out about it.
But we played it up a little. We did play it up a little at the event.
We assumed it was going to turn over.
I spread the rumor that I did say to quite a few builders, I'm not quite sure it'll self-right. We don't know. I don't think it will. Like
somebody said, even Chris and Kenny mentioned on commentary it wouldn't self-right.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that was true or not.
Probably got to them.
We were more worried about how many times it was going to flip in the air. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If it flipped too many times.
Yeah. You for the tests, they had like a blanket like laid down in case it like end over ended.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cord. That's a heat sink on the motor. We water jetted those in that profile out of 1/2 inch and 3/8 material, and then just stuck it on there. But yeah, the weight savings between the two was astronomical, just because you didn't have that huge mag motor in there.
There's the kids.
Yeah, there's the kids. Yeah. They wanted to help put the hydraulic
With
package
his RC
together.
car.
There you go.
That car didn't. Is that car still around?
Yeah, I still got it. Absolutely.
It can flip itself back over, which is kind of cool.
What? Oh, but it kind of rocks its tires back and forth, right?
Forward and back, and then eventually catches the wheel and flips itself back over.
Where's your toy, Jake?
Yeah, well, I hate that they go. So every time I see them, I always take a picture with them. Like, hey, where's mine? I don't have one yet.
So
I'm never gonna get one.
Is this you selling the old block, or is this a broken?
Yeah, this
new
is me
block?
selling the eBay stuff from the new block or old block.
Did I have a
do we
hat
have any
case? They look really
overheating?
cool.
We never checked, so we don't know if it would actually do anything or what's any symptoms of overheating would do.
No, I've never really
We want it
seen that
pressurized
one.
anyway, so.
The duty cycle is pretty low, 3 minutes. I mean, it could get hot, but I mean,
you probably want it a little bit warm, right? More viscous,
be thinner.
ideally.
Be thinner.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, we can control the flip power because we have 2 valves in it. We have a big valve and a small valve.
Okay,
So we
explain
can
this
do a
jar.
smaller shot if we wanted to. Or this year with the dick controller, we can actually last year too, we can open it and we can close it kind of controlled. So we can actually grab things and move them around.
And Jake asked for that because he's like, the problem with Petunia was it was right against the wall. And he was thinking, boy, if I could just pull him away from the wall, I'd get a better flip on him. So,
Yep.
I mean, we did the best we could with the valves we had. You're not going to modify the block to you can give a feature in software, but not remake the block. Let's just put it that way. So it does bite. It doesn't grip very well. I mean, the grip's strength is high, but it doesn't have teeth or anything. So
No, it's like 700 pounds coming back down. And when I did it to free shipping this year, I couldn't move them.
yeah, you needed to grab his tire, not his
Yeah.
body.
Yeah, I get that.
Is this gear broken, or is this just an optical illusion?
Just checking
no,
the
this
depth
is
of
me checking
oil.
the oil. So me sticking this wrench in here was so that I knew, like at the competition, without having to take the side of the gearbox off, how wet the wrench should be when I stick it in.
What? What did you just say?
It's an oil check. You're a wrestler. You know what that means.
You stick the wrench in there up against the gear and you push it in, and then you see how wet the wrench is. It's like it's a dipstick. You dipstick?
All I heard was you stick your wrench in there when it's nice and wet.
Something like that.
You're halfway there.
You did a lot of color coding too of things.
If Tom's following along better than you got a problem.
I don't know.
The
what
hell
this
is that?
Some wiring diagram.
Just a random drawing.
Wow.
Yeah, that happens.
So this is without the hydraulic package in. You can see it floats on this foam. It just kind of floats in the bottom of the robot, or in the top.
But
Really,
it doesn't even float because that foam is technically on top of the hydraulics when it's in there. It sits on top of the tie with 0 foam.
yeah. It's held in place by the hoses, right?
Yep, by that big hose right there and the little hose.
And this is the magic of getting the higher flip out of the new redesign, right? These two.
Correct.
Extra
Increased
tanks.
air behind there, not increased pressure, but just increased volume. So you have a bigger pressure at the end of your shot.
You have more pressure for longer, or you have the same pressure but for longer.
No. You have the same pressure to start, but when you end, when your fluid transfers out a certain amount, you still have more pressure at the end of your shot.
It's like your voltage sag. There's less of it.
Yeah.
So it's like a capacitor.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Well, the problem is it's, what we're using for backside pressure wasn't close enough to an ideal gas in the calculations. So we took that into account this last season, or 2 seasons now. We ran.
We just kept
extra
throwing
tanks.
things into it. That's all.
This is this is an extremely common sight. I've seen something very similar to this many times at the shop. I just want everybody to pay attention. Okay, look, get the big hammer. Okay. You look at it. I think you hit it some more. There you go.
Working with titanium is an art. It's definitely an art.
Hey, once you put that vinyl on, right? Shiny hands.
Right.
She's all good.
Who is this? The judge? No, this is Hydra. What are you talking about?
So this is a patched frame, right? I see a hole patched here. So this is
Hypershock
patched frame. Yeah.
Hypershock hole.
That spot, that exact spot, gets hit almost every time. It's that one same. We patched the same hole like 3 times now.
Think we'd learn.
Yeah, we did put an extra chunk of tie right there now, and it did get hit again this year by Death Roll. Death Roll hit that same exact spot again. Yes, this is
I don't know why I like this so much. I just
it's got to be the old man glasses, right?
Right.
Well, it's just like
puffing out.
No, I think it's that Hydra. When you look at Hydra like this, you see the shell. But Hydra's like a jet. Like there's just so much shit in it that when you look at it, you're just like overwhelmed with how much crap is packed inside of it. And just to see it as a shell getting hammered on is just kind of funny to me.
You know, people think it's a glass cannon and all, but it is all titanium. That plate on the front is 5/16 thick on what the hell is it, 26-degree angle. So
yeah,
it's about 1 inch thick if you're trying to cut through it with a horizontal.
Really venting your frustrations out on it there.
Need to start with 2 hands there, Raven.
I can't believe the guy filming wouldn't help out.
Actually, you see me in the background. I had to have somebody else hold my camera for that.
Oh, this is the filter, right? The oil filter?
Yep. That's how dirty it is right there. All that black. It's supposed to be gold, completely gold. So there is a lot of contaminants inside. The valves are either, breaking down, or you have pieces of O-ring that get, cut off and they get in there, or the actual cylinder itself, the seals on there can wear down and get into this all. What is this? Inconspicuous bot guy. Thank you, inconspicuous guy. Okay, that's very very nice of you. Very nice.
I think they're saying it's not suitable for work. Then what's the point? Yeah, whatever. Right. What are you making here?
This is the Hydra front wedgelet. This is how you make a wedgelet. You take your 1/4 inch material or 3/16 material, whichever one your flavor is of the day. Get them bent at the right angle, and then you take them in by the machine shop, and they machine the front face of them to get them nice and sharp. And then you take them over by the welder, and you put on the 2 extra little chunks of steel to make it so that you can put a pin through it and hold it up.
These are piano keys before they were called piano keys.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you're playing with your new stamper here for some reason.
Well, we needed to. The problem is if we don't label the AR, then it gets mixed in with the regular steel, and then we don't know it's AR anymore. So you got to label all your
chunk,
stuff.
and you don't know what the hell it is. What's left?
Luckily, we got some AR 5000 at the shop, and we've been living off of that for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this I found particularly interesting. This is, I believe, the second Hydra getting constructed.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Yep. This is
how you frame up nightmare
and jig it up. There's a lot of clamps holding the main ribs in, smaller ribs.
So that's the inside. Now they've got the outside bolted onto some jigs, holding it all in place.
The problem is you can never quite make one the same as the second one.
Yeah.
Because of how things bow, or
That
when you weld them up, titanium
moves
likes
a
to
little
move a lot. So you
they're-
get out of sorts. So we made fixtures to try to make them exactly the same, but they still aren't quite exactly the same.
And you're using the old one as a template here, right?
Well, for welding purposes, to see how much weld we put in where. So that way they were identical. That way we didn't add too much in welding weight either. And we know where things, worked.
There's Luke, Pete, Reese, Terry. Oh,
This
okay.
is us trying to press the new welded frame back straight because when we weld it, titanium likes to move a lot, so we have to try to
Even with
bend it back
all
straight.
them clamps, you can't hold it perfectly.
Yeah. So I do find this really interesting, and I hope you guys do too, is that almost anything titanium that they build like this ends up in this press. Like a gigabyte shell or like the bot frame. So then they take this to this hydraulic press, and you gotta way overbend titanium. This becomes a real art, right? Don't you have to scarily overbend it?
Yeah,
so
it's scarily overbend it for sure. Yeah, and then you're waiting for it to like spring out of the hydraulic press too, which I didn't actually know they made the hydraulic press back in the day.
Who?
Mm-hmm.
You did. Terry did.
Yeah.
Oh.
They made this hydraulic press. I did not know that.
So it's under tremendous load, especially like a gigabyte shell or something. If that thing would break loose, it would just go off like a huge giant titanium spring.
We needed to make a mini one to take to the event.
You couldn't make it, so you didn't have to cut a hole in the ceiling for it?
No, it wasn't in the machine shop at the time. It was out in the fab shop, and we moved it into the fab shop.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, you can't get the frames the same, right? So our heavy wedge that we had made didn't fit both frames. So we bolted it on. They had cut it in half. So now we have a heavy frame that works on both of them. And while we're making the second frame, we jigged up the Hydra vert, the thing you've been waiting for so long, huh?
There's Joe. He's our deaf guy at the shop.
He's our deaf guy.
He runs
well,
late.
You do have to yell at him quite often.
Not this one. This one's me. I don't know what.
He's the best lathe guy there is.
Oh, in the upper left. That's as much of Joey as we get. Okay.
I think I purposely.
His face was in there.
There he is.
There he is.
Oh,
There's
see,
Joe.
I modified one so I could post that one.
He's a bit of a
That's
madman.
what I did. Yeah.
Why, is he wanted by the FBI?
He might be. I don't know. They're gonna find him now.
He likes to drink his beer.
Oh, powder coating purple.
Powder coating the Hydra purple for all the wedgelets. Mm-hmm.
Powder coat on site. There's a big oven that this rolls into.
Yes, the Hydra vert is very exposed, but hopefully you hit the weapon instead. I mean, other bots have super exposed weapon motors, but they just
powder
have
coating?
a huge weapon. That's
Powder coating is like
coating.
it's like a paint, only it's a powder like a ceramic almost, like you would do for pottery, and then when you bake it, it gets like a really nice and shiny and like baked on and like super tough.
What you do is you spray it out and you statically charge it, and then your part itself, you have the ground on it, so the powder wants to stick to the parts. So you can't powder coat like plastic. I mean, I guess you could, but you end up having to put it in the oven at about 400 degrees for 15 minutes or so. Or for us, it's like an hour because it takes forever.
Makings of brick.
This is the water cooled speed controller with the water block.
Yeah.
So
good
weight
old
test.
Water manifold right inside the electronics. That's a good spot for it.
235, 246. 246. Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
It was 243.6.
Okay.
It all depends on what you have on. You know, we have what, 25 pounds movable now? 28.
That was a speed controller. That was our modifying of the speed controller because we actually put water cooling inside of our speed controllers to make sure we didn't have any issues.
So there's
the Hydra vert's pretty simple, right? It just sticks inside.
Where's the frickin' log hit? Do we have that? Or are we getting to that?
It's coming.
Oh, it's on here.
So this is the electronics package. One of the receivers or the only receiver. I think you only have one.
Only
right?
receiver. Yeah, we only run one receiver. And,
the receiver.
The back, your controller there. Yeah.
Top of the line orange.
Now, what's that say? Your receiver has taken 300 Gs.
Well, this is how I do my stuff,
blown
right?
Up.
Right? I have 1/2-inch foam attached to Velcro, and then all of the electronics. This is all electronics pretty much running Hydra. Is all Velcroed onto this piece of foam that's in there. That's it. That's how protected it is.
So a big hit, you would have to overcome the Velcro first.
Pretty much the Velcro, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the foam that is stuck in it. It's pretty just flopping in there, like really just flopping.
There's the water pump.
Brought to you by Udder Gun.
Okay, I want to thank you, Inconspicuous, by the way. So yeah, if you don't know anything about robotics, this is probably pretty slow for you, pretty lame. But for some of you, this is probably like the one time you get to see inside of the bots. But yes, thank you for hanging out because eventually Weasel's going to get drunk enough to do some fun stuff, right?
Are you a bot fan? Always. Like, do you like bots or are you just here?
Yes. In bots, you need to be as shock absorbing as you can because they're taking massive hits.
I don't know what he's cutting here, but these pictures, these videos were there and they looked cool, so I put them in. Oh, okay. There's the stupid long
Gold forks. Yeah.
Wait, get the glass.
Fusion had some made.
He even had to call it. You got to take the glasses off for his picture.
Straight as an arrow. Looks good to me.
Yeah, those didn't work out so well.
They were funny.
Yeah.
Hey, why are you... Tom, you have any final say before you have to leave here too, by the way? Are you going to fall asleep on us?
No.
You sure? Because we can let you go if you got any more questions. I mean, you're pretty much just sleeping there as it is.
If you get too drunk on the stream, or before,
I didn't know the stream was happening. In my defense,
technically it was before, so I'll give you a pass. But typically, you got to do a naked lap.
Oh my God!
I heard
There's somebody new. Hey, Tom, do you want to leave now? So I can get our special guest in?
No, he won't want to leave now.
Okay, folks. Guest. Okay, here is your special guest. Are you ready? Can you guess who it is? It's the man, the myth, the legend himself. He's got my giant nut.
Your giant nut.
I summoned you.
Hey, I beat you. I beat you. That's all I can take away from this season is I beat the champion, baby.
Oh my God, Jameson.
Yeah, you come in here to rub him the wrong way right away.
Slap him.
Yeah, he came in to gloat of how great he is, and everybody, he's pretty great. I mean, he takes over BattleBots, he takes over Norwalk. I mean, he's just the legend now.
I said it. I want to get this out there. I said it at the event. We have been expecting Sawblaze to do very well for many years. So congratulations on finally getting that nut. Very well deserved.
Well, thank you very much.
How was this last week, JMO? Was it?
How was this last week? Yeah, it's been very busy.
Yeah. What'd y'all have to do?
Just catching up with everybody. We had a bit of a backlog. I think a lot of the effort was into trying to get everything organized for that. We had a live viewing party thing with the Northeastern teams. Big thanks to Ginger for helping put that together. She was really the spearhead of it all. And then afterwards, they shipped me out to Vegas to go appear at Destructathon, which was a lot of fun. And then when I came back, I had to look at everything else and do a lot of podcasts. So those will be popping up here and there. And then, of course, what I was explaining to Jake was getting the eBay auction set up for everyone who's looking forward to getting some Sawblaze collectibles. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah, the eBay stuff really is tiresome to have to go through, isn't it?
Yeah, and then especially, I mean, some of this stuff is really awesome collectibles that we've been sitting on for last year's stuff too. So You could have wonderful pieces such as this one, which is not live yet, but don't let that stop you from spending money. Yeah, this is the Witch Doctor wheel, the one that got ripped off immediately. This is a nice piece right here. So that'll make its way.
That's like a good centerpiece.
Yeah.
That's a good
Oh.
centerpiece
You know what?
for
You know
Witch
what's
Doctor.
sad?
Dude, you're
What's sad
auctioning
is-
off Witch Doctor's wheel that they gave you?
Good
That's
for
our,
No,
our
no, no.
wheel.
I think he said it was his wheel.
That's our wheel. That's the one
Oh,
yeah.
that they ripped off. I mean, we gave
Oh.
Witch Doctor something else, which is also
No,
very
it-
cool.
It would be so
sliced
rude to
through-
sell somebody else's.
Oh yeah, that would be. They sliced through some 1-inch AR that we had, so we gave them that. It was a really cool piece. But yeah, we just got a lot of stuff that's going through, and folks that we have our team all over the US, so we're trying to get as many teammates to sign it as possible, which is another huge undertaking. So
Mm.
Are you
There's
guys?
lot-
Are you
lots
guys?
of-
You guys are pretty spread out. Your team, you're saying?
yes, Massachusetts, Virginia, Utah, California, and depending how you want to, if you want to count Mr. John Mayo, Mr. Propane Accessories, he's Texas.
How did you do with the waiting until that final episode air?
Oh, waiting?
Yeah, the months, up until that final episode aired.
I like to joke somewhat seriously. It's ironic. My previous line of work you would be heavily penalized for spilling the beans. So I've made it a bit of a habit to get used to not spilling secrets. So if anything you want to tell me, I'll keep it secret, of course.
I got some secrets for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't want his secrets.
Is he gonna teach me how to make the meat pie?
Yeah.
Oh,
World
it's
famous
meatloaf.
I knew
You know
you were
what's
hiding
sad,
that
though,
giant
is-
nut just off camera.
Where
don't
was
have-
your giant nut?
It's right there. It's there. By
No,
his
where
TV.
was it in the last time you came on here? Right? You said no. There's no giant.
Yeah,
nut.
it was there. I just put it off to the side.
Okay.
There's my living. So behind me and around the other side of the couch is basically a packing area right now. So it's just boxes and UPS things is all over the place. And yeah, there's Megatron right there, just chilling out.
Hey, can you attribute your win over Huge because of the purple chip you got right beforehand?
The purple. Oh, maybe. You never know. I mean, all those.
They gave you the luck.
Everything adds up.
No, it was definitely that Udder Gun hat. If I had to put
Oh,
it on
yeah.
one thing.
I
That's
do love that very much. I still have it.
So I don't know if you've been told this, but like in strategy sessions before seasons, there's always like a list of threats, and Sawblaze is always like really high on Hydra's threat list because of the overhead hammer. So we were kind of, I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I know Rachel and I were kind of shitting bricks going into that fight because, I mean, that's like the worst nightmare is just pounding into that hydraulic, all that hydraulic crap. So I think we got.
He doesn't even
I would've
have any
stopped it,
souvenirs to
Jake.
sell about that fight either.
Yeah, that's true because we had to everything that you damaged on us, we ended up having to fix. Nothing came off. Oh no, that's not true. That is not true actually. Now that I think about it, we have a blade pulley. As you remember at the end, after you put us back in, and then after it, I'm just like, screw it all. So I did a gyro dance. In that last little thing, we landed sideways on the blade and broke the flange on our pulley.
But that wasn't me. That was you doing it. That doesn't.
It could be accumulated. You can't discount these things, Jake.
I don't
Yeah, but,
damage
you know,
anything.
I don't
flipper.
know if we would have won the nut if you didn't beat us, because then we got
True.
seeded 8th. So
You got
never
that-
know.
And you got that fire in your ass.
That green fire.
That's
We're not
nothing
gonna
gets
lose
you
again.
started more than having a fire in your ass.
Yeah, I don't know if it was said correctly.
I mean, how rough was
It's
it going
close
through,
enough.
going through the bracket? keeping the bot. Were you running low on parts or?
Yeah, we definitely use a lot of parts. This season was a good season I think at this point, right, we're getting ready to go into the golden bolt, but we're counting our spares. We have pretty good utilization across the board, and for a season for us, that's a great season because we always make changes. You guys always we probably make some changes as well, upgrades and such. And sometimes you can't rework what you already made. So what you end up doing is like if you can't use it again, it gets trashed or what have you. So if we get full utilization of everything, that's a great season for us. Otherwise, it's just waste.
Did you go out to Destructathon with the bot, or did you just fly out?
I just went out to say hi to the crowd and sign some autographs and take some photos and just be the champ, I guess. They surprised me too. They asked if I would drive the Hypershock there, which was very cool.
You probably did better than Glenn did.
It was a lot of fun. I can see why 4-wheel drive verts are they're all over the place.
Is that what you're making next?
No.
So the real question is you really only had one bot, right? The season really made
That's
up.
Right. We only had one complete robot at a time. I mean, the robot's built to be serviced pretty quickly. There's subsections which people can work on in parallel, and it's a machine frame with billet sections, so you can just take off sections at a time. If there's something that's deep inside the robot, that becomes really difficult because as best as you can do, there's going to be a few parts which are really nested inside there. So that is what it is.
So it was lucky that you didn't take too much damage the fight before the huge one because the times were like, what, 3 hours apart from each other?
That one, so let's see. They did the semifinals and finals the same day, but they're in different sessions. So I want to say, I don't know, maybe like a comfortable 5 hours or something, right?
Okay, but
I don't.
Pretty quick.
I think we were like the beginning of the first session and then the end of the last session. So whatever that span is, and then there's hurry up and wait. So you got to be ready like at least like a few hours in advance.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we were. Yeah, thank you to all the comments. I'm just kind of like
it's tough to keep up, right?
Yeah, you're just gonna throw them in front of the screen so I could see them. If there's a question you think I should answer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, so we were lucky that Minotaur did a lot of damage. Like let's not undersell that one. Ribot, we were happy that Ribot we got away pretty unscathed. The Minotaur one, let's see what was good, what was bad. The whole arm assembly was basically trashed. I think we saved 2 parts from that arm.
From Minotaur?
From Minotaur, from the whole thing. We saved the chassis was okay. So we replaced the wheels, we replaced some bits that he munged up underneath the robot. Both those forks were unusable. The center fork was the tip was okay, but the rest of it was not. The weldment that holds everything together had to be replaced. There's something we've never seen before. He cracked. So while you guys kind of sheared that plate, he went the other way, and he cracked through the actual material itself. Like there's cracks on both sides forming through all the thing, not at the weld, just throughout the plate. So
interesting.
That was pretty bananas. Never had that before.
So when I watched this fight and did the commentary on it, I thought that your whole wedge had been bent up, but you had some sort of like bar stopper. Is that the case?
The wedge, by the end of the fight, the wedge, I think it was actually cut in half. But so on the ends, so this is our anti-horizontal wedge, and it has how it's mounted is it has some 3/4 pins in 3 locations usually, but for weights we had to cut out the center one, so it's being held on the ends. It's kind of like a goalpost looking thing. So what's going on as he's hitting it is it was welded here on the ends by Lincoln, and it's actually just lifting. It's just pivoting, and it's pivoting and it's bending here until essentially this breaks, but it pivots. So that's why it kind of moves around. But it was no danger of actually falling off. It's fine.
Did it
It's just
start
absorbing energy?
Did it start up at this level though? It wasn't all the way on the ground, was it?
It was about the flat of the wedge was about parallel with the ground, and what was keeping it there. And I know mechanically this is not the way you want to do it, but we didn't have that much real estate on the bottom, so there was rebar and flat stock, which is essentially making some beams in compression. So that's really easy to buckle. So as soon as they started hitting it, they started folding like this, and then that's what kept it lifted up in that position like that. Really what we would have wanted is something in tension, but the welds probably would have failed instead. So, take what you will. We just made a giant springy flap thing in the front.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of does. It kind of does feel like you were durable enough to win this fight.
Yeah.
Like you didn't out trick them. It just was a brawl, and
So he got his belt off. So that
huge stop.
his power,
Huge stop.
right?
Pretty much every weapon they went against this year. So.
Well, good thing JMO doesn't have his weapon out front, right?
Yes, that definitely helps. I mean, it's not the first time I fought Jonathan and Huge before with a robot of this type. So in my mind, I'm thinking I'm probably going to execute something similarly. But this Huge is also the best Huge that he's ever brought in the 30-pound or in the 250. Yeah. So the normal strategy wouldn't have survived. Like, we had to do something. Yeah, I've been telling a lot of other folks, it's not about what are the chances you thought this was going to work. It's about what were the chances that it wasn't going to work if you did nothing, and those chances were very high.
Speaking of doing nothing, you're the only person who did something. Are you surprised that nobody else did anything?
You cannot just throw your bot in the Huge and expect their weapon to stop. Not this year.
Yeah, not this year. Certainly not this year. I mean, I think there's robots that did something. I mean, Reese, you put extra top armor, right? And Mad Catter had the wide tip, the boom.
Yep.
No one did
consider a bike rack.
What?
Well, it's kind of a bike rack. Just
you consider a bike rack, and then just go up to his wheels, push him around, and then hit him with the hammer saw.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things you could either completely block, you can completely avoid the blade, or you can find ways to get in there so often that it can't spin up. I mean, they've got an incredibly fast. I think they're 3-second spin up time, I believe, is what is advertised.
Yeah, and they are packing a wall up. How did you feel going into this fight?
I feel pretty good. So, yeah, we were putting this thing together, and like I was saying, it's either going to work or you're going to lose anyways. So if it doesn't work, then you're going to lose. If you did nothing, you're going to lose. So we had a chance of doing something, and it looked hilarious. So we went out there with smiles, like basically throughout. It looked so funny.
Was this a design you had prior to the season, thinking that, hey, this is something I would do, or is this like the hours beforehand that you just came up with?
So we as a team did not come up with a concrete strategy for this. So, my general take for fighting Huge was to just put something in the way and stay close enough to keep the blade from spinning. Mm-hmm. But we didn't actually sketch out what that was going to be. So we didn't know if we were going to have enough time to actually do anything about it. So as far as things are concerned, there's only one other case where you're going to have less time, and that's Golden Bolt. So this is about as little as prep time as you could have, is within the span of one day. So after the Ribot fight, we all just went back and just started to sketch out some ideas about how we're going to implement this strategy and have it survive. So one of my guys, Eli, he goes over to the hardware store and he sends us a picture and he says, "Hey, I'm at the bike rack section of Home Depot. What do you guys want?" And
Now they don't sell Tegris at Home Depot, do they?
no, they don't. But you know, folks at BattleBots are some of the nicest folks ever. And you know, you got 2 bots in the finals. They want to support them. So we got that sheet sold to us by Horizon, and we got the tools to cut it. We didn't have a jigsaw with us from Hijinks and Switchback. So between those folks, you know, and also shout out to Adam Wrigley as well. He was offering UHNW if we wanted it, but Tegris that's the real stuff. Worked that was lighter than the UHNW, and I think would have ended up surviving a lot better. But nice gesture anyways. We appreciate it. So yeah, we ended up putting this together. We had 1 page of a notebook, started doodling some things in there, and then we grabbed the parts and we're trying to take the spares and say, oh, hey, which way should we do this? Like, which way is the best for taking load, this and that. And then we threw it on the scale and realized that the optimal solution was too heavy. So started stripping things down, cutting things off. It was the only fight in all of our BattleBots history we did not run the flamethrower module, unfortunately.
And how much does that weigh?
So you took that off completely.
Took off your active weapon.
Yeah.
yeah. Now we're just saw. It's like 6 pounds. So what it's attached to the top plate on the other side of the robot. It's another robot. So you just pull it out and then you put the dummy plate in there and you're done.
Well, it did look like that the plastic could have been thinner. Honestly, it didn't really take that much abuse. Was it just that it's just such a great material, or
I think it's a handful of things. I don't think it ever got directly hit because the wedge got hit first almost every time. It's got some marks on it, so say it didn't completely escape damage, but I don't think it was nearly as bad as the wedge got hit. Like could have been thinner, probably. Could it have been the choice material instead of the wedge? Possibly as well. But under the constraints of it all, I think that the teams were only buying the same, like they did a group buy or something. Everyone was using the same 0.4 inch thick Tegris.
Yeah.
Like Blip had it. I think Tantrum had some somehow. Huge, of course. Starchild, Horizon. Maybe Shatter had some. I'm not sure.
I think Mladnik had some for sale.
I think Mladnik was trying to sell it.
Oh yeah, Mladnik, Mammoth as well. Yeah, there's a few teams which had it, but it was all the same thickness, 0.4. So.
So
where is it?
Let's say Hydra got past Ribot. Did you give any thought to how you're gonna beat that damn Hydra the next time?
Let's see. Just gonna be a little bit more boring, I guess. just edge him out.
Take the Ribot approach.
Well, maybe not that bad, but
Do you got some
we
forks? Do you
we
got some
different,
forks you
we have
could throw on
different
there?
forks. We used our machine tips. They're wider because we thought we needed the maneuverability. We have thinner one, so it has a more concentrated tip pressure. So we're thinking about using those. They worked well against Aaron Hill, and my team was honing those like for a long time, and they worked pretty well. And then of course you run into the wall and everything gets a little munched up.
Yeah.
But there's watching it a few times. We made some changes to the plow as well. We had the end stops fixed. We had the new version of the plow which has support on the underside and the little loops that we added on there. So between those two things, we could probably get flipped and last a little bit longer before things start getting bent out of shape. But somewhere between those two things is probably our leading plan. We don't have micro forks like Ribot does. That just looks painful to watch him drive.
Yeah. And if I would have beat Ribot, then the Ribot forks would not have been a thing anymore, right? So that would have been throw the game plan out. But
they use those against Quantum as well.
Yeah, they did.
Those things wonderfully got stuck in.
You want to say thank you to JMO for coming on here, and then you can head out.
Well, I was going to congratulate him and ask him a quick question. It looked like in hindsight, it was Huge that made the mistake of trying to smother you when they got you flipped over, because by then their weapon had stopped, and you could carry them all around the arena by that point.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
was one point where they, I think you got thwacked away from them, and their bar was stopped, and they ran right back into you with no weapon or anything. That was a pretty big mistake.
Yeah, I think that I mean, watching it, I did see that someone had also pointed that out to me. It's possible. That was also it was not as big of a hit as some of the other ones they've been delivering. So even if they backed off, unless he literally backed off enough to turn 9 degrees and give me the wheel, we probably could have jumped right in there because we rolled in plane, so we should just be able to jump right in. Also, watching huge fights, because of their bearing setup, they're having issues with the bushing, I believe. I think they swapped it out to the was it 841, the oilites, instead of the high strength iron ones. They're experiencing galling on the titanium. So after a lot of time spinning in their fights, their weapon performance was diminishing. Maybe this wouldn't happen in this fight, but you know, we are still our wedge was still there and still functioning. Well, I think we could have taken more big hits, and maybe one of those would have given us another opening. So could that have, was that been a very definitive moment? It certainly was. We were able to get them a lot sooner. Would it have, if it didn't happen, would that have been a win for them? Hard to say. Don't really know.
Yeah. So their bushing issue, that's why they're modulating their weapon so much at the end of these fights. They're turning off their weapon early sometimes, and that's
almost every one of them.
Probably the bushings or the bearings. So they'll probably
they had mentioned that as an issue. In some of the later fights, they swapped it out. I don't know exactly which fight they swapped it out in, but they're just getting more and more friction. So everything was pretty operational. It's just maybe higher current draw, and so the spin up was slower. It's just resistive torque. But at some point they switched to the oilites, and they just I think the wording from, was it Jonathan or someone, they just said these bushings are consumable items. We just swap them every fight instead of running the risk of having galling. I think that's well worth it. A bushing of that size is maybe like a few dollars.
Yeah, what kind of RPM are they running?
I don't know. We can backwards calculate. I think it's like a 3-foot blade, and let's say it's 250, and then go backwards.
We have no problem running just bronze bushing greased, up to 3,000 RPM. They're pretty bulletproof.
They might have theirs might be really big though, because they got to go around the whole shaft.
A lot of surface speed, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
What do you got? I'd like to ask JMO one more thing, and then I'll probably jump out. Okay.
Oh, there's a pulley.
Look, this is a gift from Jonathan. He gave it to us at the viewing party. This is the pulley, which has the mark. So this is our blade hit across. So that's our hit.
So that's what won you the match. You sniped his blade, his belts.
I think it definitely
one by one.
helped us.
They have 4 of them, correct?
Yeah, they had 4. They only
had one at the end.
And this pulley looks like it was a magnet. Like, we hit it a few other times too. There's another hit there. This one was at the very last hit at the end. Apparently, we hit right in between the frame and the pulley, and it blew up a bunch of thrust bushings they had there.
So at that point in the match, then he didn't have as much power in his blade as earlier on, right?
And that might have been what Tom was talking about comes into effect. They might have only had a couple belts left.
Yeah, they had 50% power. So each huge chassis is a separate robot. It has 2 motors per side. I think they're belted or geared together. And then they have 1 output pulley, 2 belts per pulley. And so when those 2 belts were, if they had 1 belt per side, that's fine. They can still use all 4 motors. But when all the belts on one side are gone, then none of the motors on that side are doing anything. So that's essentially half the torque remaining. So they'd have to they did get a hit which flipped us over late, like mid-match. and that's because they had enough time to spin up. It's just
But
as long as it's
their 3-second spin up goes to 6 instantly.
So
When they're
taking out
down-
those belts was really key. It would
Yeah,
have
for
been
our
a
strategy.
whole different match otherwise.
Well, I mean, it's somebody said precision strikes. I'm like, well, there's a lot of them, so eventually you're going to hit something because you hit them quite a bit. It's just maximizing your opportunities, really.
Who's the most famous sniper?
What?
I don't know.
like
Most
actually
famous
like,
sniper.
What's
Chris Kyle.
Chris Kyle.
okay?
It's kind of those.
Mr.
What's
Rogers.
the legend, right? That's his nickname,
Right.
the
I
legend.
don't remember.
Either that or that. What is it? There's like a Polish guy who like sniped like a crazy amount of Nazis in World War II.
Bro.
I was trying to.
I don't know what his name is. I don't know what his name is.
I was trying to nickname JMO here, but I mean JMO works. So
He's the
we'll
GOAT.
just-
Jameson Goat.
He's the Giants.
Go.
Oh,
I put
Yeah.
Giant Slayer there. I thought that was relevant.
He's got
but,
got them giant goat nuts.
So do you
Uh.
do you want the next season to come right away, or delay it until late next year? That way you can be champ longer.
or more importantly, don't come back at all, so you don't lose the nut.
Nobody would do that.
And on top,
And on
No,
top.
no,
Highest
there's
score
something to be
now.
said.
What
no,
is
one,
on
no, one,
top?
no one can take that away from us.
Just
That's
bring a
right.
different bot. You can come back, just not Sawblaze.
And then Sawblaze is undefeated.
In fact, I have a Hydra if you want to switch. I mean, I'll
You
just,
want? Oh, interesting.
yeah. You need a
If
bot.
if I win the nut with Hydra, would you be upset?
I'd be,
I would
I'd
be
be-
because
I'd be your
I wouldn't be
best
driving
friend.
it, but Dad would be like, "Hey, design proof, done."
I tell you what.
I'd be your best friend
I
too.
tell you what. Next season, if you're not in the finals and Jake is, you get to drive Hydra in the finals.
Oh no.
No, no.
Wait, you're saying Hydra's going back? I never said this.
Ooh.
Plus, I thought Hydra's going to
Spoilers.
4-wheel vert, so of course JMO's going to want to drive it.
Oh, there's gonna be a vert.
But in that final, Jameson, Hydra looked exactly like Sawblaze.
Yeah.
I'm so
Oh,
modular,
we-
I can look like
We
anybody.
just use Sawblaze.
Yeah, he'll just
And
use
then-
Sawblaze.
We'll just
You'll adopt him as
stick some of the
Jameson Hewitt.
decals on it.
Where's your hammer saw attachment?
Oh, it's coming.
I want to see
It's
that.
coming.
Let me ask JMO one more thing and then I'll jump out.
Okay.
I was waiting for you. Your one more thing turned into 5 more things.
He doesn't want to leave. Just admit it.
He's
Just
drunk,
admit
he
it.
can't
don't
count.
want to leave.
No, JMO, did you at any point during after they announced you'd won, did you realize or remember that Jonathan had an appeal in his pocket? Did you think he would use it, or were you pretty comfortable with the win? Did you think that he wasn't going to go for it?
I think that, I mean, if you look at how it started, but really how it ended, I think we are feeling pretty confident that we were going to win that JD. We were celebrating that the crazy thing that we put together worked. So, like, I always tell this to people: we're not trying to celebrate early that we think we won. We're celebrating that the success of the innovation or whatever that we did in such a short period of time actually worked as intended. But when you look at there's the functional damage, which of course is worth more than the cosmetic. His damage to us is reduction in defensibility, but we still had full function. Everything was running great, and at the end of the fight, their drive side appeared to have been down. They couldn't get back to the red square. I think that kind of speaks for itself there. So there's a lot of functional damage in favor of us, and aggression could go in his favor because we were just going into the blade, but control, I think we had control pretty well. So I think felt pretty good about it.
Well, and as you stated, I believe drive counts as more damage than weapon. So if you got half their drive, that's a large
And
portion
half
of the
their
battle.
weapon. He had half of everything. Except
So
half
this,
he got the whole nut though. Not
so
half.
your
It
huge
looked like another 30
attachment,
seconds and Huge would have been in trouble.
the huge attachment that you made, are you going to spiff it up and maybe update it a little bit for the next season, and maybe even CAD?
So this all, as you know, was in October, and then in December we had the Norwalk December finals, and I ran into a robot in the 30-pound bracket. It was called Huge with Megatron, and because NHRL does this thing where they release the brackets ahead of time, so I saw he was in my path, so I made a much nicer one. Jonathan saw it there. He's like, crap. But fortunately for him, when we were doing the Twitch test, my weapon ESC caught on fire, and they made me forfeit it, so we never got to see it work. But I don't. They didn't have a camera on the cage, so I don't think anyone got to see what it looks like at all. But it's a much nicer one. It's more refined. It'll probably work in all the same ways that were good and bad. But I'm sure he's gonna have an answer for it without a doubt.
Now he'll just get a rule change.
Was that you can't modify your robot at all? This is what I read on the internet.
Nothing that sticks up that can touch his body.
Maximum height change robot. You can only change the height of your robot by like 50%.
Well, your arm swings way higher than that, so that's no problem.
Well, it's not about our weapon hitting the chassis. We need the passive elements to touch the chassis.
But your bot can stand up. You can just put your arm up, so your height is already there.
I guess so. I can also pop a wheelie, so that's something I could do. I just cock the arm at 90, then wheelie, and then just don't do anything about it, and I have lots of height in the air. Just put the forks back on.
Well, for instance, Mike, Andrea, I mean, they got to be thinking about it. What are they going to do the next time they go against Huge?
The same thing. They'll just run what they brought and hope that they can kill them.
Take an ass kicking, I suppose.
More armor is not good. Different armor.
You saw the Copperhead fight, right? So there's a Copperhead, or Luke was talking about his post fight, and he has Copperhead's a huge chunk of metal. They had a belt guard over the front, and Huge just kicked it in and jammed it, and that was it.
Yeah.
There's a surprising amount of energy behind that bar, even though it's large diameter, but it's lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just surprising,
I'm gonna jump out here, guys, but let me just quickly say congratulations to you, Jameson. You're an ambassador, a gentleman, and an asset to the sport, and you're a well-deserved winner of the Giant. Now it's about time.
Thank you very much.
And Tom,
no, he can still hear you. He's just in the back. I didn't want him on anymore. I had to kick him out of the stream. I had to be the guy.
Is your girlfriend
just
tugging
for the
your
record,
legs?
Tom is going to be doing our laundry
bed.
at the next event.
Let me at least say goodbye.
You did say goodbye, didn't you?
Let him say his thing.
I think Tom should do the former champions laundry also.
I'll happily do Jameson's laundry for the next 10 years if it means.
All right.
I mean, it's an honor. It's an honor to touch those panties.
Yeah, I'll do all your laundry for the next 10 years if it means I can come to BattleBots. That'll be a dream come true. But yeah, thank you again for having me on again, and I hope we can do more of these in the future.
Yep.
Bye, Tom.
All right.
Bye, Tom.
Goodbye, Tom.
Okay, now I can kick him out. Okay, so yes. So speaking of champions, right? You can only live so long until the giant bolt comes on. What do you think about the giant bolt compared to the giant nut? Does it degrade you winning the giant nut?
I mean, I like the idea of this, like the Who's Who tournament. What I didn't like in the first unveiling was that since it was technically its own show, it had its own budget. So the prize pool distribution was disproportionate, and it made it seem like the giant nut was the less prestigious thing.
It does. It certainly does seem like that.
I think it's been readjusted by now, but I would wish, because here's the other thing. It's supposed to be the tournament of champions, but the top 8 robots that they can't compete in it.
7 of the 8 can't.
Right, unless they had won previously and they get in through that means. Or last year, like Witch Doctor was the bounty boss and they won their bounty tournament, so they were runner-up and they still made it in.
Right.
But that seems to be
Hydra was in the quarters the last 3 seasons. Didn't go on.
Right, and we couldn't make it on there either, which I thought would be super cool to appear, get more fights. I mean, even the appearance fee was really nice.
Well,
that would help
it would
us
have been a lot easier to get into the tournament that way too.
Yeah. So I like the idea. The scheduling is definitely a problem for all the prestige that it claims. We're missing a lot of really good robots, and that's my main problem with it. So you still have the champions, and theoretically you're gonna have a lot of great robots that come out. A lot of good robots that went out in the round of 16 and round of 32, and even before then, bots are figuring themselves out. So there's still a lot of potential, but I mean, 7 of the 8 of the top 8
Best.
robots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there's a lot of the 16 that aren't in there either.
Some of the 16 don't go in.
Mm-hmm.
What could you do differently though, other than extend the whole event out to give those people more time?
That's it. That's all you could do.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense so they can get more content, they can fill more time. I mean, I get it, but it just seems like as I mocked it a little bit, it's like the champion of losers a little bit, but not anymore. Now now they're trying to stack the previous winners in there, so that's good.
I mean, like even the feeling there is like it used to be like the giant nut was won, and that was like the last fight. And you were all like, "Yay! Now everything is done." And now it's like, okay, the giant nut's done. Now we have an entire tournament to watch still. It does sort of like take the oomph out of winning that, and like even the celebration is like, great, let's fix the robot. And before it would be like, we're done. We won the nut. Now we're done. And now we're all celebrating and stuff. Like that just, you essentially were like, yay, more work, more fixing.
That's basically what we did. People have asked, oh, what did you just celebrate? Oh, we just got ready for potentially 3 more fights, and we didn't know our opponent until basically before the pits were going to close. There's like, I really hope it's one of these, because that's kind of what we're putting the robot together for.
Yeah, I mean, the Golden Bolt's the next day, right?
Yeah.
You potentially could have 3 fights.
Potentially 3 fights, yep. And you don't you don't have much time to repair, so you got to have it all ready. So that was probably the latest we've stayed in the pits for the whole thing. The team's pretty chill. We tried to just go to sleep, didn't do much.
It's hard to sleep after you win a giant nut.
Some might say
stay up that whole night.
Did you get any tattoos for your win? Anything like that? Anything quirky that you did?
No.
Nothing at all. Just chill, huh?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
We made commemorative T-shirts.
Okay, well, at least you got that, I suppose.
Yeah.
So Aiden Powers has a question, if you want to comment on it, is what compound did Sawblaze use to upgrade the Brazilian wheels, or were they even Brazilian wheels?
They were Brazilian wheels to start. They were natural rubber, really grippy, pretty bouncy, really good. They're actually very good wheels. It's just that when we're accelerating, we break traction, and so that tangential motion just shreds the rubber, ends up rolling on the surface instead. So although they were great wheels for our robot, they needed a little bit of help, and so we ended up. It was a abrasion-resistant polyurethane. I don't know what the compound was.
So do you just make new wheels now out of that new compound you used, and don't even use Brazilian wheels, or?
We made new wheels, yeah. I'm staring at them right now. Just got to go test them. So we'll see how they work. If they don't work, well, that's too bad, because I bought a lot of them.
Yeah. You don't have a cardboard box oven for those again, do you?
Oh no, these are far too nice for that. I designed a mold and everything, and sent it out, and we had professionals do it instead of using spring-form pans. So hopefully these work out. I really hope they work, because I also don't want to make changes to the mold either.
Oh, we have Rumble chat. Somebody's actually chatting in Rumble? What are they doing?
Rumble's a thing?
Yeah.
Well, if this stream goes down, we move over to Rumble.
Rumble is a thing.
Hey, what are you eating, Tiny Hands?
Pizza.
She's muted.
Looks like a cracker.
So your pond computer, it what was wrong with that now? Is it broke?
Yeah, it's shot.
The screen is shot, but you're still like on the computer right now, right?
Correct. Computer works. Screenshot.
Oh, darn it. Good
And
thing
the camera works in that computer too, because the other camera was in the drink. That one's shot.
I see.
The cowboy hat is outside drying right now. I hope it turns out.
So, JMO, I guess the real question is previous winners have went ahead and changed their bot substantially in the past and then have gone on to not doing so hot. Are you going to do the same trend?
I sure hope not.
Well, I mean, do you have things that you're going to be changing, like a big change, or are you going to try to keep it same, simple, your stuff?
I mean, I think as long as you have the chance to test it and you understand why things worked well, like you try to maintain that same functionality, right? It all depends on the timeline. So depending when they announce next season, we may choose to take on more technical risk or fewer. And if it's really soon, then we're going to make incremental changes on the things that we thought were the biggest deal. So maybe we don't want to be fixing wheels in the pit, but we've got something lined up for that. And then we want to work on that arm reliability, as you helped us demonstrate. You get flipped by a flipper enough times and it breaks. So we're hoping to improve that as well. If we take care of those two things, that'll cover most of our problem cases. And then, maybe something to get past really low robots like Hydra, and then inevitably end games and setup looks pretty good this year on the front. So we need to be able to outwedge those guys.
Okay. So how about the pressure? I mean, to win the giant nuts there's one sort of pressure, but now that you're coming back for another season, do you think it'll be more pressure or less pressure since you've already done it?
Well, I mean, people that know me, they always put they kind of put me on a pedestal a bit with regards to what their expectations are.
I love you though.
Yeah, okay. So I like people they tell me like, oh, you're my pick to win, and sometimes it's good to hear that. I think that it makes us feel good that, oh, you think highly of us, but also there's the expectation if we don't do well, people are going to talk about it, and so that's the pressure that goes along with it. I've lived with that expectation long enough that I think I know how to deal with it. So we're just going to keep doing our best. I don't know if my team feels the same way. I think we'll be able to unify under that.
Well, you're driving the team anyway. So what you think, generally the team kind of tries to follow that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll say if someone was actually really worried about it, as long as their fear doesn't show on my face, it's probably okay for TV. I suppose this may be the answer.
Do you have anybody on your team that has to back away from you because they're like too riled up or anything like that, like Tiny Hands and Dick do to me?
Yeah, look at this angry boy right there. So you didn't get the memo to smile.
Why didn't you stick with that bot? Why'd you split off?
Yeah.
What I split off? So that was a fun team. Each one of us kind of contributed to that season 1 overhaul. Can you guess what my area of expertise was?
Well, there's no hammer saw, so
run on the hammers.
I did run the hammers. Well, I just tried to make a bunch of noise to distract the other driver, but
the pods on the side.
Who was driving?
Put that in the saw blaze.
Who was driving?
Charles and Adam.
Okay.
And I drove in the Rumble actually with the shufflers, but since I didn't sign the release, they just put Charles in the video, even though I was driving. So I myself and Dane were driving for the Rumble at the end, and the shufflers were great. It was the the traditional cam ones. It wasn't super elegant. It went backwards a lot better than it went forwards. So it was really hard to get around Nightmare because you just want to back up a bunch. Yeah.
The forks look a lot like an early Sawblaze forks setup.
Yeah, you got it. So the pontoons were that's what became Sawblaze. We all had our little contributions of sorts. I think that we went with the architecture for the grabber, the kind of crusher lifter thing, is based around Charles's experience with Uberclocker, his 30-pound robot. And then for me, I've been basically building front ends on robots for such a long time. The pontoon structure, which I took with Sawblaze, was kind of my contribution to this.
Now, you guys were all MIT students at the time this picture was?
Let's see. Not all of us, but most of us. That either we're either like MIT affiliated or sorts. I'd say like, I don't know, what, 75% ish. Yeah, I know it's not a number that equates the number of faces you see here, but about a large majority was MIT students.
So who's all in school yet, and who has paying jobs
right now?
Yeah.
On my team or on Overhaul?
On that old team.
On that old team, everyone's full time except for Lucy. Lucy's she went back to get a PhD.
So what sort of thing are you into right now? Your day job.
My day job? I'm a design engineer. I design industrial equipment for a 3D printing startup company, do additive manufacturing machines and auxiliary equipment.
Wow, you had that one lined up, didn't you? Because that sounded like right out the brochure, man.
I guess I've been saying that one for a while. So
right.
So they're actually making the 3D printers now, or is it just in early stages?
The company's been around for a while. It's called Desktop Metal. I'm sure there's a few news stories about it, but we have a variety of different machines. We don't just deal in metal anymore. We have photopolymers. We have like a wood technology. There's a sheet metal forming machine as well. All these sort of on-demand. Additive is our bread and butter, but we do a lot of other stuff.
Is the additive the new wave of manufacturing that things are probably going to end up being?
That's the goal, but it's got a long ways to go. Nothing's going to beat traditional manufacturing for the amount of history that it's got. You can do like subtractive manufacturing or casting and then post-processing. In a world of manufacturing where you're making a lot of things and you need them to be very consistent and you need to hold tolerances, it's hard to introduce something just out of the blue and expect it to work as well. So we're working through all these challenges. Most things should be considered. I'm not an official voice for obviously for our company and what we do, but I'd say generally speaking, most additive technologies, you can do really well with photopolymers, or you'll be able to consider it a net shape process and then do post machining. So,
are there some guys on your team that work there also?
Right now, nope.
No.
Yeah, we got folks from all over the place.
So you're going to hang around that area for a while yet, Massachusetts?
I think so. It's expensive, but it's good. It's a good area. You guys thinking about coming out?
Probably not. No.
I figured.
It's too expensive.
The gun laws are different there too. So
yeah, that might be a bigger problem.
Yeah, they don't. These ones aren't allowed in like 52 states. So.
Oh, what are you talking about? I don't see what you're.
Yeah.
What are you gesturing to?
Oh, sure.
Is it Popeye or olive oil?
I think that's the first time Trevor talked tonight.
Oh,
pretty much.
Enough alcohol now.
There's been a lot of technical talk. So.
Oh, so yeah, you shut right up then.
Yeah, there's nothing I have to offer. I've been active in the chat. Don't worry.
I seen
Or
you.
stir.
I seen you. Mm-hmm. Well, chat. Do you have any other questions for our god, the JMO himself? Anything?
Oh please, I'm no god.
This is demigod, whatever.
Well,
Not
you did
yet.
win
Women here.
BattleBots, and then didn't you like the next month go out to Norwalk and win that too?
I got close. I
didn't win it.
I did not. I was close though. Megatron almost made it to the finals. So yeah, it was a great. So, I mean, there's a emulsifier 30-pounder, right? And that thing hits pretty hard. So he hit me in the back of the robot. So he put long forks on, and he teed us up like endgame, and he hit us in the back and threw us big old arc onto the side rail, and I should be able to get off of that, but he hit us so hard, so my power switch actually shattered, and I turned off the robot, which was insane. I've never had that happen before. So
you're blaming it on us?
No, I wasn't gonna tell you what brand it was.
So you're a traitor then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not gonna do that to your own stream, man. But now that you mentioned
that's okay.
it,
I mean, if it's ours, I mean, it's fine.
It was an MSO5, and I think it may have been weakened by the fire I had earlier in the day. So
that'll do it all day long. Yeah.
It was a brittle. I actually threw out the pieces, otherwise I'd show you. But it's a brittle crack. The top plate, it broke around the mounting ears, so the whole thing just dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like next time what I'm doing is I'm putting bolts that go through the bottom and the top just to keep it all together. Because the parts themselves were still very functional. Just the mounting ears that hold the cap just fell off.
I heard removable links work pretty good. If you want to try those.
No, I've seen enough of those.
UK guys like them.
I've seen enough of those work in BattleBots to know that I don't want to do that on the big robots anymore.
Right.
So we have a question. Who is the tall sir on your team? And how tall is he?
We have two tall guys. I'm assuming you're referring to the guy who pushes the cart and never smiles.
The long-haired axe murderer-looking guy.
Ted Bundy.
Heavy metal. The heavy metal rocker. Yeah, that's Liam.
Yes.
He's new to our team. We also have another tall guy, Eli. He usually hangs out a little bit more in the back. I think they're very similar height. They're well over 6 feet.
I'd say nearly 7. One of them's got to be 6'7".
You know, I've never asked how tall they are. I just know they're taller than me, and
just bring it up.
Well, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10". Okay. So you just look at a picture and you know that he's much taller. I think the team photo, the Dan Longmire made him kneel because they were too tall.
Yeah,
he was out of frame.
Yeah.
Hey, Sasquatch, can you just crouch down a little bit for me?
A little bit more. A little bit more.
We've seen this a couple times too. People are asking if you're going to be at open source.
Open source. I want to. It looks like a hell of an event. And there's going to be some robots there as well, I believe. So I don't have any plans for it, but maybe if the timing's good, I'd love to go. You guys gonna go?
I know what an axe murderer looks like. I can speak from experience here. This is why I can say things like that.
Yeah, it's the only kind of people he dates.
You're worried about getting that baseball mitt out yet, aren't you? She's still coming for you.
Still haven't found it.
I seen Weasel walking the streets of Dorchester aimlessly today, like a homeless guy.
That's true.
With a dog
in his natural habitat.
Typical Saturday morning.
Oh, I just realized you guys have a Dorchester in Wisconsin too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. We have a Dorchester in Massachusetts.
Probably the original.
Do you have 400 people in your Dorchester?
Well, the original.
I don't know.
In Europe.
I was told I'm not supposed to go in that part of town.
Yeah,
oh, really?
I don't want to.
Oh, yes. Let's go over what happened.
There's a wild Reese walking this Dorchester.
What happened to Terry today?
This is Dorchester.
It's not good. I had it all set up, and I spent all day getting it setup on there. This is Virgin Island, okay? And I got the trolling motor batteries on. I got the computer on there. I was going to live stream from it. And then I went home to eat a little something. And 20 minutes later, I come back and this windstorm came through and like a squall line of black clouds and took her all down, man. Lost the cowboy hat, computer shot, the camera shot.
I
Other than
called
that,
it.
pretty good.
I said the computer was shot.
Did anything fall in the water?
Yeah, the cowboy hat and video camera.
Okay, so the camera shot because of water. The computer was just face down on top of the wood, so that just cracked and broke.
Smashed, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're lucky to even be
pretty
here
disappointing.
Right now. Mm-hmm. We'll have to have video of that.
Sometime
nail everything down.
Sometime we'll actually have a building there instead of like, you know, umbrellas and tents. Soon. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks.
Well, we'll have to just have a robot competition there, and then everybody can just come over and see the pond.
BattleBots.
BattleBots would work really well there.
Hey, that might be the new thing, man. Maybe cheaper.
There's been a few places that have been trying it out. It's like, you know, they've done BattleBot competitions. They don't let you change the consistency of the water at all. You can't just like pump a bunch of surfactant in there and watch all the boats fall.
Yeah, might be good.
They're unmanned, right?
Yeah, I think there are. It's like wait, but boats kind of thing. Oh no, it's magic.
Yep, there it is, tipped over. So close to the water.
Is that the hat over by the dock?
Yeah, little black thing there in the water. Top
so
of the hat.
This pontoon is like a wood deck. But we took foam, like 1-inch foam, and we cut it the long ways, so it's like 8-foot chunks, and then we started wrapping it into this huge ring. How big is the ring?
It's 12-foot diameter.
12-foot diameter ring. And it's like 2 foot deep and 2 foot thick. And that sits underneath the deck, so you can have some flotation when you got, you know.
Yeah, that's where everything ended up, right there. So close to going in a drink. It's just like your bot getting a shit whale out of it, you know, in a match and coming back all in pieces.
Yeah. No, that sucks much worse than just the computer that goes down.
Yeah, that's the monitor now.
Going swell.
Sometimes you can see a faint word on it.
That's why you don't take a computer to a pond. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to come out there too and take my.
Yeah, you wanted to do it.
I did, yeah. But I would have been in like the trailer, so in case it stormed, I could just close the door. Mm-hmm. So what's your next outing then? You got Norwalk coming up or anything else?
Yeah, that's basically it. We're gonna take the team out, the Massachusetts squad. So we got myself, Aaron, Eli, and Alina. We're gonna bring robots. It's gonna be great. Just having some fun. Mm-hmm. Aaron's got he's got his ring spinner, the pensive prosciutto. It's pretty cool. Yeah. He's got another video about how he came up with the name. And then Eli's got hot wings. Have you seen that one? It's a hugging robot. So it has these two, I think it's like a graphite like cartridge heater things, and he cranks them up to red hot, and when he touches plastic, it ignites on fire.
Those BattleBots don't they have a rule, or did they take it out about using heat? I guess they probably took it out after fire, right? Probably take it out.
NHRL doesn't count. Doesn't care about.
They haven't banned fusion yet.
NHRL, I think the flamethrowers and rocket engines are undergoing approval right now. This is just a heat-based weapon, just for melting. So it's legal there. And this, I mean, I'm excited to see what it'll do. I mean, because all beetle weights are made of plastic and TPU and everything.
I want to show this video, but I don't think we can on YouTube. He's got a video of this robot, right? Working?
Probably somewhere.
It says converting a 3D printer into a hugging robot. Hot Wings.
Oh, it's the NHRL official one. That was the first version. So the 3D printer hot ends. I mean, just like a flamethrower, you have to really hold it there for a long time. But this new hot end is way hotter. Yeah, that's the. You got a little clip there. It's got the new wave shufflers on it, so it's heavier, and it's a real stout robot, and it just hugs.
Interesting.
Oh, do you think these shufflers here wouldn't be legal for BattleBots? Do you think
Nope.
that at
What
any
weight is
point that
that?
they might move towards being able to use them?
Oh, I don't
Looks like
think
a little
so.
tantrum.
I designed it to be really, well, I didn't design his, but I think that people have borrowed the concept from Silent Spring, and it's so easy to make. That's how everyone is making them. There's, people, I've actually seen a few event organizers saying that style of shuffler will not get a weight bonus because it's so prevalent now. I won't blame them if they decide to go that way.
But that
more
means
ways,
Silent
more
Spring
ways
is
that ruin
done,
the
huh?
sport. Well, at least that version would be, yeah.
Right.
So
What weight class is that?
beetle weight, so it's supposed to be 3 pounds.
Okay.
But with the non-wheeled, the novel locomotion method, they can get an extra 2 pounds, which is a big deal for the small weight classes. So we understand, in most places otherwise, it's like 150%, right? So it's pretty understandable. It becomes a big deal when all your 3-pound robots are fighting 4.5 pounders, right?
Right. Well, at least you don't have to come back next season in BattleBots to higher weight class after winning the nut.
Yeah, we'd have a hard time, I think.
Okay, Dick. What else you got? You got anything fun, silly? Anything JMO specific here?
I mean, I showed the final. That's the only package I had time to prepare.
Well, that's the one that really matters, right? I mean,
Yeah.
He doesn't think about any other fights but that one.
What are you guys gonna do for next season?
There we go.
Don't ask us that, because
no,
we've been.
Have you already gone over that?
No. See, that's the thing. We never go over it, and this is always the last minute talking. We kind of talk. We kind of mess around with certain bots and working with new speed controllers, and like, oh, okay, we're not going to do anything, but yet we're still working on bots and other things all the time.
Fire next year.
So why are you telling me now then? You just gave away your hand. You think that any of the
we always end up coming with something, which is the problem. Well, I don't want to bring a Hydra. I'll say that now. 100%, I do not want to bring a Hydra unless it's a purple bite force.
There's going to be a smaller vert module for Hydra that we're going to end up running it more often, and not just against huge. Fusion. It depends on when the event is. We don't know. So
what? Fucking Fusion gets the back burner again.
Well, technically, we haven't got the green light or the red light for this thing in July or August, right?
Well, actually, we kind of did get the red light because they extended the live show through a certain time, which would have been the filming dates.
Yeah.
So we're pretty sure they're not going to have it in July or August anymore.
But, why leave the builders in the dark guessing,
Because they want them to get done, and then they have these really expensive machines that they might let play in their arena.
It's kind of a big difference between end of July and like February. Timing.
Yeah, but you won't start working on a real bot until 2 months beforehand anyway. So
well,
it doesn't
not
really
now.
matter.
We have other things to do. So
Yes,
scheduled those in.
we could not get bots ready by time because we have the full crew working on your pond building right now.
Your pavilion, right?
And there's one guy I'd like to give him a little credit for working 14-hour days pretty much every day. Forget his name.
Is it Eeyore?
Might be.
Yeah, patting yourself on the back, are ya?
Well, he's there for 14 hours. It's taking so long to do everything.
Well, that's true. Yes, you know this, Trevor. You know this.
Yeah, but this is different. This is just laying rebar. Laying rebar is like cutting butter, right? You just one after another down the line. You just keep her going.
He's kind of Amish, so he does like 50% more than the English person.
I don't have a girlfriend, so I don't have to save any energy for that.
I've been getting snippets of the kittens.
Kitten check.
Kitten check. I saw it on Reddit.
Check. We're calling it.
One,
I will give JMO a question while you go wrangle some kittens.
Okay, I'll try.
If you could change one
wild.
thing in the battle
They're
box,
getting wild.
What would it be and why?
Oh, man, someone asked me this in the AMA too, I think. Depends. I mean, if we're starting from scratch, right? If all the teams were starting from scratch, I kind of want to see what would happen if they did different terrain. And I don't know exactly what that terrain would be, if it's just like rocks that go all over the place, or if it's a sand area, or literally it's just leaving a bunch of dimples all over the floor. But, you know, if you look at the bots that people really love watching all the time, it's because they keep moving. And, you know, they're really dynamic and stuff. So we find ways to reduce that, the standoff that we see. I think we're going to get a lot more dynamic robots, and one way of doing that is like it's incentivizing movement. Whether if you sit in one spot for too long, I don't know. Like maybe there's a floor hazard on the entire thing. It's an array of indexable something that just hits you in the bottom if you stay there for like 2 seconds or something.
So you really don't want Hydra back then? I see.
No. Well, I want more like I want more Hypershock things. You know,
just drive fast and say you're a good driver, and
and you get rid of a lot of the fork game. I think that you need something, right?
Why don't we just take the forks away then? Wouldn't that simplify everything?
But someone's gonna find a way.
Wedges. Where do you stop?
They're gonna find a way.
Flippers. If you don't have a flipper on the floor, I mean, what good is that?
Okay, then you just do powered. Anything that touches the ground has to be powered. So your wheels powered, right? Or
I'm sure
in Kraken's case, they have the one fixed point for their weapon. That's part of their power system.
How much power?
You just can't put forks out there and just let them dangle.
I like the way that Dick's thinking. How much?
Yeah, you got to have more than just a servo on this thing to pick it up.
We all want to get rid of the wedges and the forks. It sucks. But how do you do it?
I mean, you could do it at the acceptance process. You just have to have a bot that does something, like you fire it, or it like grapples or swings, or like has a firing mechanism, not just the kind of just spinning and then randomly ramming into each other. We see that a lot.
I like death roll. They're leading with their weapon. Their vert's way out in front. They don't have forks. They're just running around, bumbling around all the time, smashing into stuff. I mean, you ignore that. See, you come from the top, JMO, so you don't have to do a ground game, right?
Yeah, of course.
Hey, did you do anything with sand recently, by the way? You don't have to say
specifically.
Well, I don't know if I can say it or not, but
look at how big they're getting.
They asked me to do something in sand with a guy, a sculptor. Did they ask you to do the same thing?
Yeah. I got that.
You got that? And you actually had to do it?
Well, all I had to say was yes, and he did it.
On counter ratio, we just bring the black one back.
It was on BattleBots social media.
So
Oh, they
one-
actually posted it already?
This one
Yeah.
likes to sleep.
Oh,
with
I
me.
didn't see that.
Woo!
All right. Calm
Hey.
down. You're not getting
Yeah.
milked yet.
Sawblaze went to battle against the Sand Sculptor's robot. And he
Do
built
they
the
live in a
machine out of
smaller
sand.
box and then you bring them out in a bigger tray?
No, they actually have their own bedroom. With the cat castle. The castle.
Axel.
The castle.
Oh my god.
That's adorable.
They're so great.
They are so great.
They have their shots.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh,
This one, I like this one. I like all the kitties. What's not to like about kitties?
did we ask Jameson how many cats it takes before you're a cat lady? I think he said N+1 last time.
Yeah. Everyone seems to like this. You. Oh, look at this.
Set them
Look at
free.
you. This one's just staring at me. All right, give me a meow. Give me a meow. Good girl. They're getting so big, though. Look at them. I can't even contain them anymore. It's getting
Literally.
ridiculous.
Okay, go let them go. We've had our cuteness explosion.
Oh my god, they're all going.
They're all running for it.
You're all trying
That blow up doll behind you is going to have a bunch of slash marks on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think someone said that.
What I should say quickly, the black one still has blue eyes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Dibs.
Shit.
That's
gonna
killing
want
you.
clean
Is it
hands.
killing you, Rachel?
Yeah, Trevor has
I've
already
been ready-
started. He's been like pitching driving home with one when we come back.
Listen,
So
I've been bullied into being a cat home instead of a dog home, and now that I'm fully on board to get a cat, you're gonna tell me we can't?
Well, we can just ship it UPS.
yeah,
you guys
I'm
We're gonna be
sure.
there in a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna be there in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Although we are gonna be in Milwaukee for a couple days.
We could go
I
back
didn't realize
You
and
could
then
sneak-
go.
we could sneak the cat into the hotel. They would never know. Why is your suitcase meowing? Don't worry about it.
No, baby chickens they sent through the post office. Baby chicks.
That's
No.
so stressful.
Do we know anything about this, Jameson? This say something about NHRL regarding fire weapons. I don't know why you're the expert there, but
Probably. I mean, I pop on the Discord, kind of sitting there. So I know that they basically got enough traction that the fire marshal is like, hey, this is a thing with fire, and we should probably, give our level of scrutiny onto it. So they're looking into making sure the procedures that they have in place, whether it's ventilation and in the event of, an event with fire that's unplanned, how do you deal with it? So they're going over the proceedings, and I don't know if they've concluded whether they will be allowing it or not. I believe the last I heard is that they have a section of the registration allocated towards robots with fire weapons. So they're saying register, and if we get the final approval, then you can use your fire and come. But right now, NHRL is so competitive that they're filling up 160 beetle weights every time, which is the cap. That's a lot. It's a lot of robots. And then there's the 12s and then there's the 30s. So, and robot combat is kind of hitting its peak right now. I don't know what the robot events were like back in the Comedy Central days, but I think it was at a high, and then it leveled off a little bit, and then it jumped back up. I think we're at the high right now for the reboot for sure.
Jake, do you have Bryce's contact? Send him a link.
Nope, I do not. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I think I
We're
have
not
him
friends on
Facebook
Facebook,
then.
I don't
What are you
think.
doing?
I got it.
Oh, actually, I am your friends with him. Do you still need me to invite him, or you got it?
No, I got it.
Oh, okay.
Go back to your regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, I was watching the sandcastle guy build.
You see it?
Yeah.
You see Sawblaze cut it in half?
I did not, actually, because it skipped back for something else, and it looked like it just restarted without me actually seeing any Sawblaze, so it was kind of lame. But yeah, that got taken away from me because it was supposed to be me, and then of course they wanted the winner to do it, so yeah, got taken away. Kind of like the bounty hunters got taken away from me last year, because that was given to me to be the bounty head instead of witch doctor, and then like an hour later after they came there, because witch doctor was in the finals and they wanted to do the fights for that night already. They just said, "Yep, we're giving it back to Witch Doctor anyway," because they lost. So, yeah.
Yikes!
That Tantrum didn't damage them enough. They told us, they told us the same thing they told you, right? It's like, hey, if Witch Doctor can't make it because they're fighting, they would like to put one of you guys. You were way more ready than we were, because we had a lot to fix.
Yeah, you were right in there too. You were right there.
We wouldn't have been able to get it done in time, so it would have been all yours if Witch Doctor couldn't make it. If he had too much damage in the finals, that would have been yours. Mm-hmm. We couldn't finish it in time.
They right after the Tantrum fight, they came up to me and gave it to me, like straight up 100%. Okay, you're just gonna do this, right? Then that hour later came around, and then they started like, okay, now we'll go talk to JMO, and we'll say either way if. Then it's a thing. So I was kind of mad after that one. Like, you get robbed to begin with, and then you really get robbed. Yeah. So not fun. That was not a good day. Not a good day. Hi, Bryce. How's it going, Bryce?
Hey, Bryce.
To be honest, I was just here for the kitties, and then you dragged me.
Oh, dragged you, yeah.
Gotta get kitties out
Come
again.
for the pussy turns into a sausage fest.
Well,
I did
call him out right. I did call him out on stream in front of everyone, so he didn't have to come. But it's like it's kind of rude, I suppose. Sorry.
Hey, he's not wearing a bikini this time, so we're already above the game, right?
Then I gotta go.
Oh, I was told there'd be a bikini. I think Trevor and I are actually gonna go.
The bikini.
Yeah, we were told there was gonna be a bikini.
Actually, I thought we were ending the stream. Why did we even get him on here?
Oh no, we're gonna do the after stream on Rumble.
Oh, there is an after stream. I did not know this.
Of course, we can watch any video we want. And
it turned out that last week we got kicked off, and then we just kind of kicked right into our after stream, which ended up being the regular show anyway. But
yeah, sorry about that.
Why?
Yeah, Bryce.
We are almost 3 hours into this stream without a single gun check.
Well, we're probably not going to do it. We got shunned, people. So
are we behaving?
Took away.
Is that what's going on?
That's what Rumble's for. Just chill out.
Prepared though.
Oh,
JMO even brought his gun.
Yes.
That's a Dyson.
Hey, what did you bring the giant nut on screen yet?
Yes.
I mean, why have you not done this yet? Like,
I mean, I don't want to ruin your day, Jake.
Is it? Oh, I'll bring my dad's giant nut out.
Against huge.
Hey,
no, I did it first. I did it first, baby. You can never take that away from me now.
Sure.
Yeah, but
I do.
we did it.
Dun,
we did it, and it worked.
There it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Oh, look at how shiny it is.
It's
You
so
polish
shiny.
that. You polish that every day.
That it came that way. So yeah, Trey he handed this to us, and he's like, "This is the shiniest nut I've ever had."
Huh.
Interpret that as you will.
So, do you touch it every day?
Okay.
Do you touch your nut every day?
How many heavyweight giant nuts are there?
Since the beginning of time, or just in the?
Correct.
I don't know. Is this a trick question? Do you even know
the answer?
It's what? There's 5 seasons of
7.
Is it 12 or
7 in modern.
Was there anything before season 1 Comedy Central, like the pay-per-view stuff?
Well,
Like
there was
Long
5
Beach.
seasons, Comedy Central.
5 seasons, and
I
then
would say
7
12.
seasons of the reboot, right?
What about the 09 event? Was there any nuts handed out that one to
Paul.
Paulie?
Well, if there was, then he has even more nuts.
Cheater.
Somebody's got to take him down, Jameson.
No, nobody ever accused him of cheating.
You need to get more nuts than Paulie so we can stop talking about him.
Well, let's call it 12 then, right?
Okay.
I'd say 12.
5 plus 7.
Generally 12.
So
And
Paulie
how
still
many
has a fourth of all nuts.
And how many different winners?
Not that diverse, right? Between Biohazard and Bite Force, there's a lot in those two guys.
Gage, Carlo, Paulie.
12
many
nuts,
Paulies.
6
Way too many
guys.
Paulies.
That adds up. 12 nuts, 6 guys. That's two per guy. That adds up.
Yeah, we only have one.
Game will get his next
You
one
only need
this
one.
coming season, since he's all dialed
No.
in now.
We'll see. I mean,
A guy should
Depends
really
who's
have
that.
2.
schedules.
Oh, wait
tough.
a minute. How could I forget about Ginger? That's not a guy.
Correct.
Wait,
You know,
where?
it's
Yeah.
not
Who
23, you
kept the
never know.
nut?
Co-captains though.
Who has the nut?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's California.
They should really cut it in half. It would be funny.
Oh,
he
yeah,
told,
actually.
he told us where it was. I forget what he said.
So, how about your
can I
nut?
forget
Do
his
you get to
name?
keep your nut? Are you the guy with the nut? Or
I'm
do you
the guy
share
with
it?
The nut. We take the nut to events that we take the robot to, which we've only had the viewing party so far, but in
That
the
looked like an
future,
amazing
when
party.
the robot goes around, you can see my other hand. The nuts, we're taking that where the robot goes.
Okay, but for a team that's diverse like your team is, and so many different areas, is it your nut?
He
No,
shares his nut.
I don't think we've ever discussed that before. Maybe it's worth talking
I think
about.
it's
No,
unspoken that it's JMO's. It's
Yeah,
JMO's
he puts it on
nut.
the weekends.
I mean,
That's his
we
nut.
don't know. We don't know who puts in more time, more effort, more money, all
the
that
team
stuff.
definitely-
JMO is the face of it for sure, but is
You
it
gotta
his
wear-
nut?
You gotta
Why
wear
are
it on your
you-
neck like you're
Why are you trying
Look,
to sow
man,
division?
it's sitting next to his
Yeah,
I
TV.
got anything to try to beat
It's
JMO.
his nut.
Just leave him be. He wants to pass it around on kind of some sort of autocracy where everybody gets it like a week out of the year or something. I mean,
No,
Custody
that's not what I'm
battle.
getting at. I'm like, when Paulie gets his nut, it's his nut,
I
right?
think it's
He's
on
got
him.
other people on his team, but he is the guy, right? Now, other teams, I don't know how that goes for them. That's just what I'm asking about.
you just need to win enough so that everybody gets one.
Winner's
Yeah,
dog.
okay. Yeah.
Captain
Need to
takes
win
the
more.
first for sure.
Yeah.
We got a lot of
You
team
decide.
members, so
Smell it
It's
down.
JMO's nut.
Okay.
Interesting, though. This is an interesting topic.
Yes, I thought so. Mm-hmm.
when
Everybody-
when the team is together, when we're taking the photos, everyone else I let them have unlimited touches.
So you think it's your nut then?
Unlimited touches to the
You
nuts.
got them? Okay, Jay.
I'm glad Rachel's laughing. Everyone else is just stone
Can
faced.
can this burden be passed to me for like one day with unlimited nut touches or no?
Not or
Technically, Jake was on the team when we won the giant nut. He was there.
So does that count? Did I
Yeah,
win a
it
giant nut
counts.
then?
Yeah,
I didn't drive, but
he's on the
that's-
team.
that's the real workaround we're trying to get to here.
Is not your nut.
Oh, but I was on the team that won the nut. So if the team won the nut, then I won a nut. Just saying.
Exactly.
So this was all working backwards.
well,
so that you could say
therefore,
actually-
No,
Since
this just
since-
happily sat in my lap that this turned this way. I wasn't
Since
trying to
I'm
go
your
this way.
brother, it's
The
my
nut is in
nut
your lap?
too.
Fell in your lap.
Yes, your nut fell in my lap. Yep.
All right. Before we
Thank you for not saying reach around. Yes.
before we wear out our welcome with Jameson, we should call an end to this.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's only getting bad about nuts.
Yeah.
But
Lava
we
nuts.
want to congratulate
Lava
you
nuts.
for winning and you know,
Reese,
taking
or,
out everybody. And I mean, honestly, from the look of it, from TV purposes, it looked like it was really easy. Was it really easy?
Oh, it was hard. I mean, what, the whole path? It was hard.
Okay, but it looked from a TV perspective that you were calm, collective, and like it was an easy time for you than other people had in previous seasons. Like they were
Come
getting
on.
wrecked.
You've seen me in my pre-map prep, but pre-match prep. You've seen me in that.
I do, but that's what I'm saying. You make
That's
it
how,
look
even
that's
easy.
before
how,
that.
that's how it looks when you're that good, though. Look at every one of Polly's nuts. It looks
It
like
looked easy.
nothing.
Yeah.
Well, they started using the backstage, the GoPros, you know. So everyone knows I kind of get into my zone, and you know, everything's just a bundle of nerves, but you just don't see it, you know. And the team, I mean, they did such a good job. I didn't have to do as much work on the robot. Like it was anything like highly specific and nuanced, because the Massachusetts folks, we did the assembly for this stuff. So we've got team members across the U.S. that aren't as familiar with it, but everyone learned what the systems were like. And if there's anything super nuanced, you know, I would handle that stuff. But the team, they learned all the details almost on the fly. We did design meetings, but you get to actually see it. It matters a lot, right?
Yeah.
And they did all the heavy work, all that freeing our blade from Hypershock, the grinding, the prep, the overseeing the welds, the filing of the fork tips is so much work. 1,000 strokes of the file. That's the level of sharpness that we have. Yes.
But your prep work makes it look easy to everybody else.
In the
honestly.
arena.
Yeah, in the arena. Yeah.
So
that's what I mean.
3 minutes of glory for 23 hours and 57 minutes of work.
What was your hardest actual match this year?
What, in prep time or
no, just actual fight, not just prep.
Actual fight.
Yeah, like actual prep. Like, was there an actual hard fight for you to win?
Minotaur was hard, for sure, because that was a lot. You know, if you can win a fight on the design, that's the easiest thing, because you just, like, when you go to head to head, you're like, my design, how I've got set up, it's trumping the other guy's design, and so we're probably going to win all the engagements. When you have something that's a little bit more 50-50, you have to exercise a lot more caution, or maybe some of that driving skill to try to negate the advantages that they have. And we're starting to lose some of those advantages over time, because we're accumulating damage, and that's kind of what we saw throughout the later half of that fight. But by then we'd already started the fire on them, and so it's basically the timer is ticking for us to not get knocked out. You know, there's a lot of fights that on paper we won with preparation, and so it didn't look difficult, but the preparation is what made it look like that.
Or just overall design was just going to win that match.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would also say our fight against you was hard, because we very clearly lost.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but that could have went a different way.
Jameson,
that was just design. That
was
the
the
whole
point of this question,
right?
was to say, "Oh, Hydra was the hardest because I won the knot."
Oh, I know, but
so
I wasn't waiting for that. That was the design.
There was points in the Minotaur fight then that you were worried that you were behind, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, but when you start losing machine function, and you know how important that function is, it's definitely nerve-wracking, right? I think that for most let's say the first half of the fight, I think we were definitely dominating, and then we started damaging the arm system, right? And we were down on the arm and the blade. Then, well, you know, I'm not thinking about the judge decision, because of course I'm hoping they just stop working. But basically the number of chances that you have to recover from a hit like that are reduced, and so the next hit, if they flip us over in the wrong way, we can't get back from that, and then that's going to be a big win for them. So it's it's really it's on edge. You know, you got to make sure that you go in there just right, and if you have the ability to do so.
Minotaur is one of them bots. It's just like the other Brazilians. They're very hard to knock out, very hard, and you got them with like 30 seconds left. And you weren't even touching them at the time. It was just it's compounding effects, and eventually it caught up with them.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, kind of just. So what happened to them, if I understand correctly, is that the fire melted the receiver, and then the whole system went out. So about the time where we threw them into the screws, the drum basically stops, and so it may have been about that time where they actually lost system control, and we didn't know until the screw dumped them onto the floor, right?
Yeah.
But still, I mean, there's 7 seconds left on the fight after the 20 count, right?
Yep.
That was not a lot of time. If we didn't get them then, if it was just a little longer, a little later, like I don't want to see what those scorecards would have been like, because it's gonna be dicey for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But you took care of business. That's all that matters.
Yeah, luck matters sometimes. I
It
think
does.
that luck is an element. The bracket layout.
There's a couple things. I don't know if it's 2 or 3. I haven't thought this out yet.
Oh, he's giving us a raw
Let's
statement. This
pick
is
on
never
that.
good.
There's luck, there's preparedness, and there's skill.
Driving skill.
So there's 3 things. You got to have
Strategy.
all 3 to win that nut.
It took him like that full 10 seconds to count them up.
We had to give it to him too.
Well,
We
There's-
just wait till we start muting
Well,
him.
I was trying to think maybe there's 4. I
There's-
just stopped at 3.
There's a shit ton of factors, but luck is one of them.
Those are the 3 categories
Yeah.
of factors.
What I have been telling people, I said this actually in that table interview with Chris and Kenny with a nut. The way I've explained it is there's different advantages. There are things you can implement to win a fight. I say design, skill, and then luck. And you try to depend, like the basis of all this is design. So you try to do as much of your winning and the design phase. And if you can't depend on design, then you have to try to overcome it with skill, which is drive operator, maneuverability, this and that. And if that's
Attachments,
not working
maybe.
out, okay, I would put that in the design category. So if you have the attachments, like you make it, you try to. That's when you're making attachments, you're trying to win the fight with design. And then if none of that really works out, then you're just crossing your fingers and hope something good happens or something bad happens, and that's where luck comes in.
Well,
So-
for fusion, there's 4. Number 4 is not starting on fire. That's a big one. That's like number 1 for fusion.
Is that?
Yeah.
I think that could be in any of the other 3 categories.
Yeah, for Goomba, that's a design feature, and we designed to try to catch on fire.
On purpose?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
next,
We put our
next,
butane tanks like right up in the front, and we're just like, maybe somebody will hit us.
Okay. Well, we're gonna call it a night on YouTube. Okay. So we want to thank JMO for coming on. I mean, you got to come on here and brag and show us up again. So I mean, I'll let you do that.
Jake,
I'll let you.
no. You invited me.
way to just randomly stop in, Jameson.
Yeah, right?
Geez, this is
You
weird.
invited me.
Didn't
I
get
had
here.
the stream on in the background. Someone sent me a link before you guys started in
See,
here.
he was gonna be here anyway.
I was gonna be in the background, but you wanted me to come on. Send me the
Well,
link.
yeah, it's better getting you straight from the horse's mouth instead of texting your random replies. So much better, and thank you for coming on. And well, we're gonna head out and we're gonna move over to Rumble right now so we can get the after show going on.
Only
So,
appropriate.
another little putty
Whyachi
clap
Rumble.
to JMO and his team for taking out that giant nut, and
Congrats,
hopefully
JMO.
You can stay for the after. You can stay for the after show on Rumble, or you can bug out. Nobody will hold it against you.
Maybe I'll just lurk around in the chat and see what happens.
you
All
can
right.
lurk. Yeah. We made it 3 hours, folks, with 104 of you till the very bitter end. So thank you. And now I guess we're out.
Let's get to the.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen,